And we're live.
One day we'll have like a super dope like intro for it.
Yeah, there's some music and graphics and yeah. That is not this day.
No. We could sing for him, but
Pass.
you got a guitar.
I do.
We would just make our own song.
And we're live. Oop.
It's Dick Check Friday.
Dick's out and all, man.
Yeah.
Dick's out.
Dick's out.
Present accounted for.
So what's new?
Went to the ER this week.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
How'd that go?
Kind of shitty.
Hmm.
Having a really bad panic attack, and the wait time was like 2+ hours because I don't know actually how long it was because I didn't wait there the whole time. Like it subsided, and I went home.
It's usually
Actually,
how it goes, man.
Probably worse for my health than the high heart rate was sitting staring at the floor tiles that the seams didn't line up with the colors, and I had a TV right above me that was playing Fox News, and so it was 2 hours of hell on earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't die, so that's good.
Nope.
So, yeah. What are you gonna do now?
So about 45 minutes before I went in, I had eaten a microwavable burrito. And then yesterday, I ate a sandwich. And about 45 minutes later, I suddenly started getting a high heart rate and felt all like weird. And so, for some reason, eating too much, I guess, triggers panic attacks.
You sure it's just not like acid reflux?
Well,
that sounds exactly, like literally exactly what happened to me, and it was acid reflux.
I mean, it might be. I take medicine for it. I've got the stuff you recommended, the Maalox soft brand.
Yeah. Maalox is great. I find that Pepto works better for me now.
Pepto actually doesn't work for me at all.
Yeah. But like I would legitimately like eat, and then my heart would start racing, and then I would have an anxiety attack. And I didn't feel any pain in my esophagus.
Mm-hmm.
And it got so bad that I would go to stand up and I'd have like a 150 heart rate. And I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to fucking die. And the only relief I could find was to just lay face first on the floor. But even then, it wasn't really doing anything.
Just pretend you're dead. And
yeah, pretend you're dead.
I just like, I'm laying on the fucking carpet, like just, until somebody was just like, hey, we should probably take you to the ER. And I was just like, oh, sure. And we get there, and they're like, yeah, you just have anxiety. I'm like, fuck you. This is not, yes, I'm having anxiety, but something is causing it to happen.
Yeah.
And after like 3 trips to my doctor, he was just like, yeah, why don't you try drinking Maalox? And I was like, what the fuck is Maalox? And I did. And then I instantly felt better.
Yeah, I was at work, so I didn't have access to it, but
I keep that shit in my backpack now. It only ever happens if I drink, basically. And if I drink hard liquor, then it really fucks it up.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much exactly 4 o'clock, and I was sitting there. I was about ready to get up and go home. And then usually it happens when I'm driving, and it makes it harder to drive because my limbs start to get weak and I drive stick. But yeah, so I just sat at my desk. 10 minutes passed, 15 minutes passed, half an hour passed. I'm like, why isn't this going away? These usually go away after about 15 minutes. And it just kept ramping up, kept getting worse. And so
you said you take medication for it?
Yeah, I take generic brand Prilosec.
Isn't that omeprazole, or is that something else?
Yeah, it's omeprazole.
Dude, I take an omeprazole and I'm good.
Yeah, but
fucking all day.
Then a coworker offered to drive me to the hospital if I felt like I was actually legitimately dying, and at the time I did. Because my heart rate was like an even 145 for half an hour.
Yeah, that's what it would be like for me, man.
Yeah. Sounds similar. Sounds very similar.
It sounds exactly the same. But mine went on for like a month undiagnosed. It was just a month of that. Like, it was the only time in my life where I like looked at, because I stay with my dad to help take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at my mom and I gave her my pistol and I gave her my keys and I was like, lock this up and don't let me know where it is, because this is the first time in my life where I've legitimately thought about just fucking ending it, because I was
Ugh.
just in agony just for a month straight until I figured out what was going on. I mean, I never would do it, but it was just like the thought occurred to me. I was like, fuck, I'd rather be dead right now.
Jeez.
Yeah. That was a shitty month.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. And it started out where I'd be at work and I'd eat something, and usually I would chug a bunch of water and it would just go away because it would like dilute it,
Mm-hmm.
but it just wouldn't go away. So I'm just like in the back laying on the floor like, am I dying? What the fuck's going on here? Good times.
Good times.
So who knows, man? If I drink, I just got to take a little bit of like Pepto before I go to bed and I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, Pepto actually makes me throw up. Like, it makes me like violently sick.
You're not the only
That's-
person I know that says that.
That's like
Alka-Seltzer
the
too.
opposite of what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, I know. It's like Epicac for certain people.
It's supposed to solve your nausea problems, not make them worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's shitty, man.
Yeah.
I
Since
told
I
you.
Didn't get admitted to a room. I'm wondering if the bill will be less than it was last time. I
Oh
hope
no,
so.
it's gonna be fucking.
It's probably gonna be
huge.
more. They're
More.
probably like, fuck this asshole. Let's get him on some bullshit, like $300 Advil or something.
So what else is new?
The people I work with are retarded.
Oh yeah.
Some of them.
Mm.
I was telling you, Harley, about this
Mhm.
yesterday, but I'll do it here again just for everyone to see, and it can be recorded, chronicled. I started working at a pool and spa store, on behalf of my friend who convinced me that it was dope and easy and great. So I was like, sure, get the job, and then immediately just walk into like just a shitnado, because apparently they're remodeling the building when I get there, and there's a crew from Yakima that does service stuff. They go out and fix hot tubs and shit, and they ever been recruited because there's nothing to do right now for helping to remodel the building. And so we're told that we're gonna like paint this room. I convinced the boss to buy a paint sprayer. We come in our day off to spray paint like 3/4 of the room, and then the next 2 days we were gonna, touch it up and then finish the room. But the guy from the Yakima store, he thought that we weren't moving fast enough for some fucking reason, and then ordered one of his dudes to completely repaint the entire room. But he didn't put down any plastic on the floor like we did, or the ceiling. So he just straight up
Just went ham on it.
just sprayed the walls, I mean the ceiling and the floor. And none of these guys ever wear masks. They'll be like grinding like into concrete, we're getting ready to polish it, and you can't see their face. There's so much dust coming up off of it, but they don't have a mask on. So he's just in there going ham, fucking spraying this shit without a mask. We just were like, fuck this. We just fucking everything up. We're just gonna leave. And then the next day we come in and they're like upset because obviously there's this fucking catastrophe that's just happened.
Yeah.
And they tried and blame it on us. They lied to the boss. They were like, they did it. We want to fire them. And so we had words, Calvin especially, and they almost got to fisticuffs out back. Calvin's the kind of guy where he just, once he gets upset, he has zero filter and he'll just say whatever and get into fights and shit. But they got that squared away and then immediately started to clean up the room. And how they did this, I hope this isn't incriminating my job in any kind of way, but what they were doing was they were taking acetone and Gooby Gone and mixing them in a mop bucket and then just pouring it onto the floor, which I had nothing. I wanted nothing to do with that, and they were going to hand me a N95 dust mask, as if to say that would do anything to the chemical smell, and just left. And another guy I know that works there, he was actually still helping him before he got really upset, and he was just like, "This is fucking retarded, guys! Like, we're literally melting the linoleum floor," and they were just this cart like shaving off huge chunks of a linoleum that just liquefied. And then they had to rip up all the linoleum, and a 2-day paint project turned into like a 3-week, like $10,000 remodel.
What?
And that was just the start of it.
What chemical is Goo Gone?
I don't know. It smells real strong though, like the liquid kind, like the one you get in the jugs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't even want to know, dude. I wore a respirator when I was in there. So, fortunately, I think I avoided most of my brain cells being evaporated.
Petroleum distillates D-limonene and aliphatic ether alcohol
Yeah.
and acetone in this case.
Yeah. So, I was just taking videos and pictures and shit just in case I got to fucking report this to OSHA. Like, if they try to pull more bullshit on me and like try to get me fired for something I didn't do, I'm just gonna scuttle the business when I leave. just report it and just like say fuck y'all and leave. It's ridiculous. I've painted the same countertop in the middle of the store 3 times. 3 times. Like from start to finish, the whole thing, what the colors they chose me to. The second time was because they changed their mind on the colors. And the third time was because they fucked it up when they were doing whatever they were doing. It just cut off huge gouges, like ground away the bottom part of it. And I have to repaint it again. I'm just not going to do it until they leave. It's been ridiculous. Every time I go in there, I'm like, what the fuck have they fucked up? And apparently they just stole all the food. There was another crew that worked there.
Okay.
They just stole all the food in the store. There's another crew because these guys are all Mexican, and this other Mexican crew that works in the store was getting so pissed off at these guys that they just jumped them after they came out of the building and just got into a huge fist fight because they were just fucking so retarded. And then the cops got called, and since they started it, they got fired.
Huh.
It's been a kind of a wild ride since I started working there.
This isn't as impressive, but in regards to your painting the same countertop over and over, a couple weeks ago, I had to send a bunch of items off for surplus because we had like 5 big giant pallets of shit, old computers, old monitors, etc. And to do the paperwork for this, there's this really shittily programmed form that's like really slow. It's really tedious. You have to do like 1 entry for each item, 1 surplus request per pallet. And the data set that I was working off of was something that like a student worker had gone through and written down all the like asset numbers and everything on paper. And so there were duplicates in it because, you know, people make mistakes, especially when working with this large volume of data. There were so many devices.
Yeah.
But so I finished the first form and I hit the submit button and it says, oh, there's duplicates. You can't submit this. You have to correct this. So I find it and I correct it. And I go down, and when I did this, it grayed out the submit button. And then so whenever I corrected it, it did not re-enable the submit button. And so I was like, the fuck? And so I tried everything I could think of, couldn't get it to re-enable the submit button. So I had to start over. This was like an hour and a half of work. Of just mindlessly punching in numbers. Do it again. Triple check that I don't have any duplicates. Click it again. Sure enough, I do actually have a duplicate. I just missed it. And so it grays out the submit button again. And finally, I sit there for like 3 hours just playing around with the HTML, trying to get it to make this fucking button work.
Changing the code.
And what I ended up doing was I brought up a new form with an active button, and I like inspected the asset for that and copied the HTML and put it in my old finished form. And I just cut out a new button and taped it over the top of the old one, and then it worked. So I had to keep this code handy because it happened 5 more times with the rest of the pallets. But then, so I enter all this information and finish it. And one of the things about it was the person who is the approving authority for that isn't on our campus anymore. And like you select them from a drop down. You have to select somebody. but they were like, no, just do it. It's fine. It'll just carry over to the next person who's is responsible for this. Well, it didn't. So I did all like 5 of them, and then I had to do all 5 of them again. So it was effectively like something like 15 hours of just punching numbers in, over half of which was not necessary.
That's why you get paid the big bucks, dude.
I was a little brain dead by the end of the week.
Yeah. Fuck that. I can't figure out why my goddamn computer can't connect to the internet, and then I'm fucking just wasted for the rest of the day. Just exhausted. Yep. The bullshit that we got to deal with. But it's kind of like, once it's all done, because they keep telling me that allegedly, supposedly, it's not normally like this. And once they're gone, everything will be cool and chill.
This doesn't usually happen.
Yeah. That like Calvin he was upset because he was apologizing to me. He goes, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring you into this. I didn't know it was going to happen this way. I was like, well, I'll give it a couple more weeks. Plus, I just leased a new car and I can't really quit right now.
Matt, you hate your job too. What's a good story?
Yeah, good story with me. Let's see. So, I mean, I've been dealing with misstaging of Mac OS devices. I don't really know how the hell it happens because it's all through Apple automated deployment. So basically, we buy an Apple device. We tell Apple Business that this device is managed by our MDM, and then our MDM just kicks over the whole MDM profile, and it should install everything. And yeah, I don't know how this team and one specific person keeps fucking that up. So. It's always an adventure because it's never actually the same fuck up at any given point in time. Like sometimes it's like, oh, I was trying to do a migration and all the Jamf binaries are fucked. Or I was in the middle of it and I decided to quit the automated device enrollment process and now everything is fucked. So please help me.
Yeah, automation.
Yeah.
Put so much time into something that's supposed to save so much time, and usually you just end up putting more time into trying to make it work.
And so I have to evaluate another MDM that's supposed to do this better. And it does do it a lot better, but I foresee problems. I don't understand how you fuck up an automated process. You literally change one thing in a drop down, and then you're just power it on, set it on the desk, and then just leave it alone. But they don't
leave it alone.
They don't leave it alone, and that's the problem I have.
It's like whenever you have food that you know is too hot, but you eat it anyway.
It's the pizza fresh out the oven. Just ha 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 ha.
I just throw it in the refrigerator for a couple seconds, and it's usually just perfect.
It's genius.
Then you wake up the next day like, do I have a gum infection? What's going on with that corner of my mouth there? What is that?
Why can't I taste anything but pain?
Tastes like hurt.
Yeah.
You guys aren't streaming, right?
Yes, we are.
You're on a different channel.
We're on YouTube.
I have the stream open on. Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Oh, you're on YouTube. That's right. Okay.
YouTube's. I always talk shit about the game store I work at, and the climate that it is, and all that stuff. But like, I went to work today there, and it's been a month, and I've been dealing with this shitstorm, and I just paused for a moment.
It was like coming home.
I was like, oh my god, it's so fucking peaceful here. Everything is working like it should be, and everyone's doing what they should be doing.
God, I wish that was me.
And I was like, holy. And then I realized, I was like, you know what, this place isn't so bad after all. I just wish I had more hours there.
Well, that's the thing is nobody's in a bad mood whenever they go into Adventures Underground. Like you go to a spa store,
That's true.
you go to a pool and spa store. There's a chance that your fucking pool or spa is broken and you're buying parts for it, and you're like, God damn it, I have to fucking deal with this.
I do a lot of water tests for people who bring in their water, and I'm like asking them questions, and I get the readings around. I'm like, so how is your pool like cloudy or foamy or any algae? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, your pool's all fucked up, and I think that you're lying to me.
Replace pool with urine, and you're a
They're
doctor.
like, oh well, I mean, it's a little yellow. I'm like, okay.
Well, most nerds are non-confrontational, so if they give you any lip, you just kind of raise an eyebrow and they back down. So
Yeah. I mean, they're not coming in there for conflict anyways. I mean, they might be upset that
that's
you
what I
forgot to-
do. Every time
fuck
I
it.
go into Adventures Underground, I'm looking for a fight.
Man, you should have seen Eric come in there, dude. Holy shit. He would do it on purpose
Throw
too.
hands.
Because he would come straight in the store and he would just come up to me. Like I was at the time, I just ring people out all the time. And he would just be like, so these are all the faggots you talk about. I'm like, oh shit. He didn't give a shit.
And there we go.
Yeah. Flagged.
Flag.
Demonetized.
Blacklisted right
Yep.
there.
Off the algorithm, as they say.
Yep.
But no, it's like I talked to my boss today. I was like, listen, this job pays well, but if you want to give me a lot more hours, I might reconsider.
Are they not giving you very much, or?
No, they got a stupid ass POS system where you gotta like look at the screen for the total and then enter it into a credit card machine. And when you do that a million times a day and it's all hectic, you fuck up some numbers, like some cents here and there. And if you do that, they just kick you off the register. But like half the store isn't able to use the register because of that reason.
Hmm.
So I'm just like, get a fucking better POS system.
You're not
That's
gonna
a
find
simple solution.
You're not gonna find a POS that isn't a POS. Everyone that I've dealt with has been fucking terrible.
Yeah, but at least a lot of them I've dealt with, there's no huge margin of error that you can have. It just doesn't work most of the time. So I just build shit and fix shit and paint shit, and that's all I do for them because none of them know how to use power tools.
And dodge cancer.
At Klein's we used QuickBooks, and that was a shit show of software. Like we were on the phone with QuickBooks support, fucking more than our customers were on the phone with support with us. Like, it was crazy.
Wow. Yeah. So, Elden Ring.
Yes.
God, here we go.
Here we go.
I've played it a little bit.
You've put a
Yeah.
couple hours into it.
I'm enjoying the shit out of it still. I
Yeah.
just got to that
Please.
tower that's got the like giant flame ball of madness that just appears, and if you're standing there, you just get madness looking
Oh,
at
yeah.
it. That was
Yeah, I
pretty
found that
neat.
really late. I was like, wait, what the fuck is this doing here? Wow.
Yeah, I just was riding by, and I'm like, why am I getting
Why am I
fucking
suddenly getting
blasted off my
frenzied?
horse? Yeah,
I thought that the best way to like go through the area was to like check off every boss in the area, you know? But there's no boss there, so I never saw that tower.
Mm.
And I just kind of rolled into it one day trying to do something else. I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. It's fucking Eye of Sauron over here.
seriously.
I just stumbled
Get-
across Caelid for the first time last night.
Damn,
Or not,
you still-
not Caelid, sorry, Dragon Barrow.
Like, what are you talking
Oh.
about? We rolled through
I
Caleb
know,
like five
I
times.
misspoke. Dragon Barrow.
Yeah, Dragon Barrel's pretty neat when
Yeah.
you first like, holy shit, ride your horse through it.
Yeah,
You can
that one dragon is a thick boy.
you can make your
Yeah.
character super overpowered super early because of that area. That giant
Yeah.
dragon. You just roll up on his tail with a bleed
Park
weapon
up
and
on his
just,
ass.
just start carving at him for an hour and then
Takes
eventually
like
you know,
5 minutes of just wailing on him with
Yeah.
a bleed
That's
weapon.
the one that doesn't attack you, right?
Yep.
And then when he dies, you get like 5 dragon kills. So
Yeah,
if
'cause
you
they all
eat
die
the
too.
golden chicken foot before that, you'll just get like, I got like 98,000 runes from it.
I was freaking out scaling that tower that's just north of there. Like I was like, okay,
Yeah.
don't look down.
That was the most butt puckerest part of the game, I thought.
yeah.
Yeah, there's those moments you're like, oh, I'm gonna die from falling damage. Oh no, I'm fine. Okay.
Yeah. They gotta
Yeah,
fix
falling
that
damage
shit.
doesn't make any fucking sense in this game.
It's all or nothing.
Nope. No, there's like 3 inches of
Yeah, there's like 3 inches of space where
damage
you will
that you'll
just take
take.
damage, but there's
Yeah.
it's rare.
3 inches is enough.
The next game I'm thinking about getting into is Warhammer 3. But it looks more like a chunky DLC, like an overpriced DLC to me. So I'm going to wait till the Mortal Empires comes out for it. I don't know if you guys ever played Total War Warhammer.
Have not.
Looked at it. Mainly
It's
just
fun.
because it's a total war game.
Honestly,
I,
it's my favorite Total War game.
I saw some long form critiques of it. They were mostly positive.
There's and the thing about it is that they've come so far since it's come out, and they've updated it and changed it and tweaked it, and they're constantly balancing it. Because it's like GW has like totally forsaken the tabletop version of Warhammer Fantasy, and so they're just pushing all their money into this.
Actually giving a rat's ass about the game.
Yeah. The lore in Warhammer Fantasy is actually pretty good for the most part. There's a book called Gotrek and Felix. That's pretty good.
I've wanted to get into 40K, but I do not have the money for minis or any of the books.
If
Plus,
you
I
get
haven't read the first 39,000 prequels. So
right.
I feel like I should start with one first and work my way there. You know.
You know, chronological order and all that.
Warhammer 40K is so good. Warhammer 40K 2 must be great.
If you got I think it's like about $200, you can get a 3D printer, an FDM resin printer, and all the minis are free online.
Yeah, so are the headaches that come with being in the same room as a resin printer.
Yeah, you don't put it in the same fucking room.
I
I got it in the
you know,
garage.
my wife used to do acrylic nails in the same room that we slept in. So
Ugh. Yeah, I thought I was like, I have an air purifier. I'll just leave it in here and have it on because it's too cold outside. And then within like 20 minutes, my air purifier was saturated with toxic smell. I had
Yeah,
to throw away the filter.
we had ours.
Now it just sits in my garage until the summertime.
We had ours in a fume hood in the server room, and still, like, you would walk into the server room and it'd be on the other end of the room, and you'd still just like instantly like, ow, the backs of my eyes hurt now.
Yeah. It's supposedly non-toxic though. That's what it says.
I don't know. The one we had
harmful.
said on it how gravely toxic this is and how you should handle it with gloves and.
Apparently, the new resins aren't as bad.
Hmm.
I mean, they still make the back of your eyes hurt, but it's not as bad as the PLA stuff. Because people say PLA isn't toxic, but holy shit, that fucked me up.
Wait, PLA resin?
Yeah,
Hmm.
no PLA FDM.
Oh,
thing.
FDM.
It's technically non-toxic, but I when I first got it, I put it in my room and just turned it on for like 12 hours, and I was playing Arma, marathoning Arma, and then suddenly I was just like what do they call it when you get a migraine? You get the fish eye goggle thing. You know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about like tunnel vision?
No, it's like, you know, the fisheye lens where it's super wide and weird looking.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you get migraines, you sometimes can get like that.
Well, you
kind
don't get that. You can get something called an aura, but it's not. It's like an ocular migraine.
Yeah,
where
I've
you get
never.
a bunch of colors like in one field of your vision where it's like almost like a field of not seeing. It's not really colors so much as it is a blankness.
Yeah.
But you don't get like fisheye distortion. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I've never.
I
I've
got
never had a
that shit.
migraine that replaced my eyes with wide-angle lenses.
Yeah.
Why are all these straight things round?
Oh God, what happened to me?
I feel like I'm in a skateboard video.
For real. Man, you remember
I'm doing
skateboard
kickflip
videos?
so I can feel normal.
Remember Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going right there too.
Those were the days.
Tony Hawk Underground was my favorite.
You just have bad taste with everything, don't you?
It had the best music.
I never even. Well, they all had great music.
Yeah, they all
That's
had great
just a
music.
subjective opinion. Like
There
ATV
are
Off-Road
some
Fury had
incorrect
amazing music.
subjective opinions. There are some incorrect subjective opinions. That those are true.
We'll see.
Yeah, all the ones that don't align with what I think is good.
Well, see, I was at a disadvantage because I started with 3, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, so going backwards wasn't really a thing because 2 had less features, and so it was like I didn't have the nostalgia for that.
Dude, I picked up
Pro Skater 4.
a magazine at GameStop in the mall that had a demo disc with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and like 50 other fucking games.
Demo discs were the shit back in the day.
They were the shit.
Yeah,
so I
they were
played
awesome.
the shit out of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 demo because you got to the custom skate park creator in it. It didn't have like all of the things, but you could still make your fucking. So I played that game more than I did Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 because it came with 2 levels and that. And like Tomba 2, Medieval 2, Spider-Man. So I would just jump between all these games, play through like the first level, and then I was good.
Yeah, the one I had a BMX game, and it had like 3 Tomb Raider games on it, and then a couple others, and I played through those so many times.
The PS2 network mod, like the thing you would slap onto the back of the thing, would come with a demo disc with Frequency, which was this music rhythm game that you could also remix the songs with your controller. And I played the shit out of that, and that demo was so popular it had its own community separate from the real game.
I believe it.
Man, those were the days.
Yeah, they stopped making those demo discs pretty quick though.
Dude, there was like a whole there was a chat room in that game, and so people would like share remixes that they did.
There's a whole ass
in this
social network.
Yeah, it was like this whole ass, and it's gone now. It's all. It would be funny to like sign onto there and just be like, "Hello," and it's just completely empty. And then there's like one really weird dude who responds. That'd be really.
That's my experience of acquiring this and getting in there, and then the one really weird dude is you.
But
So-
my musical taste formed from that game and its subsequent sequel. So, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Gran Turismo. Those are the ones that had really good music. That was like, oh my god, now I have taste now.
I loved Gran Turismo with like the menus. I love the menu music with the just the jazzy drum and bass, like minimal. That was good stuff. I guess it wasn't
Speaking of
drum and
old
bass.
obscured communities, remember how we talked about Furcadia,
Mhm.
one of the other ones we did?
Yep.
So I decided to hop
Welcome.
back on
Oh yeah.
just to
Oh,
take a little
no.
gander. And I hopped into one of the dreams I used to frequent, and
it's still there?
the same motherfucker was still there.
Wow.
Yeah,
He's like, get out, Sam.
He was fucking. He was one of the weird ones that I never really liked to talk to. So I just was like, oh god, and then I just deleted it.
He's like sitting in a chair at the end of a long hall, petting a cat, and he's like, "I knew you would return one day."
There's always a bar in all the dreams, so I just went straight up to where because the dream hadn't changed at all.
Mhm.
And I remember going to all the rooms and being like, oh yeah, cool. And then I went to the bar and he was still sitting there. And then he said, oh hello, and I was like, oh fuck, and then I just logged out.
Hello.
wanna talk to you.
I-
Hello.
There's this person who runs around doing archives, like an archive service of like all the old communities that were really popular, and I found an archive of my own dream that I ran, and I was like, holy shit,
I spent
You
a
know
this
good
is a
couple.
part of someone's memory. That's awesome.
No, we should do. We should hop on one day and just stream going to his dream.
Raid him.
It wouldn't actually be that embarrassing. It was pretty dry.
Yeah.
But I did do a lot of sprite work, and that was a lot of fun. But there would be one thing you'd make fun of me for, and it was called House Etaith, and it had a bunch of flags, right? Because it was like this cult, and they'll have the letter E on them, so you guys would be like Ethan, Ethan.
Yeah. I spent a good couple weeks trying to cobble together like a functional chessboard in that game, and I never actually managed to make it work, but it was a thought.
Some
I'm
of
sure
those
somebody did.
dreams were fucking crazy.
Well, there was,
Yeah,
yeah.
That pseudo programming language is really weird. The Dragon Speak or whatever,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which shared a name with a scripting with a speech to text or text to speech program that was commonly used by people. So it was very confusing when you're
It
trying
still-
to Google it.
It still
So-
is, actually. The like accessibility people at WSU use Dragon.
Is it just called Dragon now?
Yeah, it used to be called Dragon Speak, but then they changed it to just Dragon.
Probably because of Furcadia. That's what it was.
That's definitely it.
Honestly, dude, that was
100%.
such a good role playing platform because that was the only
It
reason why
was.
it was
The
so
only, the
good,
only
and
problem
there
was
was
it was
nothing out
chock
there that
full
was.
of furries. Yeah.
Well, that was the problem. It's just degeneracy. It was just pure degeneracy. But every once in a while, you could get a good group, and you basically were playing D&D.
Yeah, if they had a non-furry version of that, which I'm sure there is a game that I'm just too young to know about, but
I
Well,
looked, dude. I
here's the thing.
scoured.
The reason that furries work. No, the reason that Furcadia worked is that it properly cordoned off its degeneracy, right?
Mm,
Like it had cordoned off degenerate areas. Everything was
right.
pretty much cordoned off. Everything was in dreams and whatnot, and then pretty much all the public spaces was like, absolutely no anything other than PG-13.
Yeah.
like
You know,
Naruto, fucking role playing, fucking dream, and it was mostly
yeah,
anime.
everything was specialized.
Yeah.
Like but it was like you had to know what you were getting into. You weren't gonna run it, and they had standardized avatars too. So it wasn't like Second Life where it's like, oh, it's this big tit dragon lady with a penis that's flying into my fucking professional business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you read that whole post on the website with like the furry role players?
I did, and
That was
it actually like
fascinating.
it actually like fucking activated some long dormant neurons in my brain. There's some parallels here to when I was 16.
The person who wrote that has another post that they wrote for something previous that they linked to in that post, and that was also a fascinating read. Just like the political dynamic of a bunch of fucking mid-teenagers trying to run a society.
That was what brought me back was just the drama of that, and the Flash and the Pan communities that rise and fall, and like those fucking teenager ran forums. Like I
Yeah.
I used to go visit a forum called the Myriad, and it was basically for my community in Furcadia was like the strict RP people, and so that was like the whole subsection where it was like, roleplay should have rules, and so like everything was very standardized, and there were things that you could do and you couldn't do, and like you couldn't, like how you wrote your posts had to be a certain way. You had to use proper grammar and everything. You had to speak in third person all the time. You had to use OOC, that sort of thing. So like the Myriad was sort of like discussing the strict RP rules, and the fucking pages upon pages upon pages of trying to understand how to make magic work and make it fair in something where there's no dice rolls or any stats whatsoever. It's just like I do this, right? But like trying to come up with some sort of plausibility and fairness where there's absolutely no measurement whatsoever. And these arguments would last weeks, and like some threads had to be split up into multiple threads because they would get like hundreds of pages long, and it was absurd. And that's where I cut my teeth with argumentation. And so I just got really good at arguing from that, and oh my god, it just got so insane. And like you had to learn how to like balance your character with its powers based on, it had to have some sort of weakness to go with it, right?
Yeah.
So like my character was an illusionist, and that was what made him capable of being a cult leader, because he would create a set of gods out of whole cloth just by creating illusions. And he had all these giant demons who were like protecting the area, but they were all fake. So if anyone ever attacked them, they would just collapse into dust.
Yeah.
But he just used the illusion of them being there to promote fear and make people scared and whatnot, so they wouldn't attack or they wouldn't get into fights or whatnot. So that was my balancing thing, and then there's arguments about that. But yeah, that was a very long sentence.
Man, you wrote Spider-Man Far From Home way before Marvel did.
I just
What do you
joined
mean?
groups that just
The whole
had
plot
dice
is
rolls,
the
dude.
whole plot is drones that create holograms, and Mysterio doesn't have any superpowers.
Far
He's
From
just
Home?
fucking Far From Home. He's just fucking
thought it was
fooling
Oh.
everybody.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I could be wrong.
Like there's this whole thing where the elementals are coming and attacking from another dimension and all this stuff, and it's all bullshit. He was a former Stark employee who just stole the hologram technology.
That was
Never saw that
the
movie.
entire premise of the character. It was like I created a religion that was bullshit,
That is
and
fun.
and yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that was a thing.
It's a good movie.
I don't really watch Marvel movies anymore. I'm so sick of them.
Yeah, they're a little different.
They've destroyed film.
I like the Spider-Man ones in particular because they're really different. Like they're really off the wall. Like the new series is just they're kind of goofy. Like they don't seem like you're watching a Marvel movie. It's just a standalone good movie.
Because they're not made by the same people who make all the Marvel movies.
Yeah, Sony has a heavy involvement in it.
Yeah. But when I was rocking in the Furcadia groups or just roleplay groups, because I started in AOL long before I did join Furcadia.
So did I. I did AOL as well.
And I would we probably fucking met because I fucking met my goddamn ex-wife in Furcadia before we met in San Diego. So that was a kind of a small community if you think about it. I would just join a group that made sense.
When you launched the game, which letter did you click on?
I don't even remember.
Mine was I. That was the letter that I clicked on.
AOL Instant Messenger was such a good program.
Yeah. Straightforward, a bunch of public rooms.
Did you guys see that the Russians rebooted ICQ?
Well,
I thought it was still around.
The chat client? Well, no, it went away for a long time. But then a couple years ago, like, some Russian company picked it up. And now there's, like, a whole ass, like, modern platform for fucking ICQ.
weird.
Yeah.
Harley, how's your helium hotspot doing?
I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Yeah. I was looking at the orders that they're shipping out, and it's like a 7-digit number that starts with 122 is the current batch that they're shipping, and my order number starts in 128, so it's gonna be a bit.
Oh no!
I just saw a post from somebody. They were like, they're getting $262 a day from their helium hotspot.
Yeah, depending on your placement and your relation to where the other hotspots around you are, you can make some bank. There's a guy.
Everyone's saying that height is might.
Yeah,
Like,
height is might, and then your distance to other people. There's a guy.
Oh, I live on a mountain.
There's a guy down the road from that 7-Eleven here on G-Way.
Yeah.
And he's making something like $45 a day, which isn't 200 something, but still, it's money.
That's
Jesus.
fucking
free
money.
How does that all work?
So, plugs into your internet, and then provides a 5G signal for Internet of Things devices. So, like, stuff that scientists use out in the field, and they need, like, a 5G connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, you get what's effectively commission based on how many times you get pinged and how the information flows between your hotspot and other hotspots. And
Probably would not do good where I'm at.
You'd be surprised, man. If you get it up high enough, you capture a lot of shit.
yeah, I mean,
Because like it's a lot of shit. Utility stuff like e-meters and stuff will bounce off it.
Yeah, and I've
How do
got my
How do you get one?
you would need
Buy it from them.
You buy it either from one of the various companies that makes them. If you go to the Helium website, it tells you what ones are compatible. I got a Bobcat Miner 300. Interestingly, the website would only accept cryptocurrency as payment for that.
No surprise there.
But
How much did it cost?
mine was,
They're supposed to be like $500.
yeah, I think mine was
On average.
500.
Yeah, that's not even approachable for me right now.
I'll talk to my boss tomorrow about the
Yeah.
job and all that.
Mine was 515.
See if he's got room. But right now with gas, dude, that's a long ass motherfucking drive.
That beats DoorDash.
That's true. I didn't think about that. It's way better than DoorDash. I'm filling my car up now like every other day. I'm putting a couple bucks in just to save some money. If it keeps going up.
Where does this place? Oh, it's right by Euromart. Yeah, that's not a big deal.
It's like across from Winco in Kennewick.
Yeah, as long as it's in the Tri-City area, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, like the longest drive is what, 20 minutes for anywhere in the Tri-Cities. So
Probably,
From
yeah.
where I am?
somewhere around there. It's
So-
15 minutes from my place. It's
Yeah,
probably
I'm
a
mo-
little bit
yeah,
longer than that.
I'm mostly highway, so we probably ends
Oh,
up
that's
about the
true.
same.
Yeah, you're probably about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what
'Cause
I
it
get
takes
when people around here bitch about, like, oh man, I gotta drive to Kennewick. I'm like, what? Motherfucker? That's like 15
Yeah,
minutes
it-
at tops.
I'm one of those
Not a
people.
big deal.
Yeah, I lived in San Diego, man. It was 30 minutes minimum.
Yeah,
to anywhere.
I work 3 minutes from where I live, so I'm like, any drive longer than that's too long.
I used to take like an hour and a half long bus rides to work every day. So
It was
that was
30
just that was
minutes.
just a part of my day where it was just wasted for no reason.
I had to get up at 4:30 a.m. to get to work on Camp Pendleton, and no one was awake then, so it was a 30-mile drive, which took me about 30 minutes to get to work. And then I got off at 5, which was an hour and 45 to 2 hour long drive home. Talk about stressful. And I would do acid sometimes on Fridays, so like I would do acid like on the way home, so when I peaked, I was like walking through my front door, but sometimes
Sometimes you get stuck in traffic.
traffic's bullshit and I'm sitting in traffic tripping balls like this sucks. I'm not enjoying this. And then your friend shows up because you forgot that you invited him over to do acid and you're already doing acid. You're like,
Is
shit.
acid mild enough that you can do while fucking driving?
Depends on how much you take, man. I'm not trying to brag, but I was the kind of guy where I could take a lot of acid and still sort of keep my shit together. So I have a skewed opinion of it. Some people can take one hit and just lose their fucking mind. Some people can take 10 and just be cool.
Just reminded of that comedian who tells that story. He's like talking to the bouncer at the nightclub. And he's like, I just took 2 hits of Mitsubishi Ecstasy. The bouncer's like, man, you got to get out of here. Because one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to go to jail or you're going to die. But you're going to feel really good while it's happening.
I don't get it.
A girl gave him 2 pills, told him to take one now and take one in an hour, and he took them both at once because he didn't hear her. So we're just
Have a good time.
This is going to just get really high.
So, funny thing, I'm looking at this helium map.
Mm-hmm.
The house I'm in is literally right on the edge of like 2 blocks of whatever helium coverage thing.
Oh, yeah?
So I have an unclaimed zone that I'm currently living in.
You could claim that shit, man. You just got to
I
get
can
like
claim
a
that shit.
30-foot antenna you can get on your house and you'll be golden.
With a lightning
Sure,
arrestor.
Yeah,
Sure,
well,
my-
obviously, you got to ground that shit.
I'm sure my landlord would appreciate that.
He don't need to know he's getting his rent.
Eh.
If you ask what it is, it's like it's a city thing.
If we
It's for
told
my
your
work.
landlord about everything you do, you would be in jail.
You're not wrong. Just me in the sex dungeon down here. I mean, what?
I mean, if you've got like the proper like room size and location to have a sex dungeon, then your landlord was already like up to some creepy shit.
No, it's called a basement, bro. You never thought
Oh,
about
wow,
having a
this
sex
whole-
dungeon?
This whole area is totally unclaimed. Where
Yeah,
I
no
am.
shit.
I don't think
You're
you would
living
do
out
good out in Benton
butt
City. It's
fuck
too far
nowhere.
from everything else.
He is up on a hill, but I don't know if the hill is going to obstruct the important parts or not.
Well, everything behind that hill is farmland, so
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, see where I live, there's a bunch of like, it's the research district, so there's all sorts of shit.
Yeah. I just wish that I could fucking maybe convince my neighbor to like splice his goddamn fiber optic line and just run it underneath the street or some bullshit because fucking the goddamn Ziply won't do it. I told you about that, right?
Yes.
I'm still fucking pissed about it every time I think about it. Every time I call too, I'm like, hey, do you know when you're going to get fiber across the street? They're like, nope, we have no plan to put it over there yet.
It's BS.
You guys just fucking like have a map and you throw darts at it and you're like, okay, we'll put fiber here now. Is that what's happening? Because that's what it looks like.
every time I've dealt with Ziply, they've been an enormous pain in the ass. Just unprofessional.
I mean, nobody likes them for their customer service. Charter's fucking bullshit though. Every time I go look at Charter's gigabit, it's like 900 down, 100 up, or like 30 up or some bullshit. I'm like, why? And they give me some bullshit excuse. I'm like, that's horseshit. I fucking hate internet companies.
Yep.
This is just.
Let me look. See what's up with this.
Oh yeah, I I got hit with one of the most frustrating fucking financial days of my life. Harley read about it. I had to get okay. So this is how this starts. T-Mobile is retarded. Everyone knows this. They're retarded. They can't design a website that works. Trying to pay your own bill is a nightmare because their websites break all the time.
Shut up and take my
And then
money.
and then you call them, and the people on the other end of the phone don't know what's going on. And so, anyways, I try to pay with my card, and they say you can't use this card. It expires next month.
Okay.
I can't pay my bill because it expires next month. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go get a new card, and because I want to be able to use my phone because I need that to work. So I go and I get a new card, and I'm like, great, okay, I guess that's done. And then I do some DoorDash and some Uber Eats until my gas tank goes all the way almost to empty. And then I try to cash out. I'm like, oh fuck, right, I changed my card. I gotta put in a new one. But DoorDash has this thing. So I'm with an empty gas tank. DoorDash has this thing where if you change your card information, you're locked out of your money for 7 days. Just why? Who knows? It's something they thought was cool and they put it in the app. And Uber Eats is fine. You can immediately use your card because they're not assholes. But I fat fingered like the code that they send in. They send you a code to make sure that it's you, and so they locked me out for an hour, just because I messed up once,
Ugh.
and so couldn't get the money from either thing. I had I had $3 in my account. Actually, I had -5 because I thought the money was in there, and I tried to pay for gas, and then it was like, no, you're denied. Okay, we'll refund it, so now I have to wait for the money. But anyways, so okay, fuck. So I fortunately have just enough gas vapor to get home, and tomorrow, or sorry, the day after, my car insurance bill was going to come through, and then my phone bill the very next day. So no money. Also can't get to my money. Won't be able to get to my money for a week. So I call Progressive at 10 p.m. and then I'm like, hey, I explain the whole situation. Like, can you help me out? Can you cancel this auto pay so I can just pay late or something? Because I'm about to get hit with 2 payments, which is gonna be 2 overdraft fees. So it'll be $67 for my insurance, $24 for my phone bill, plus 2 overdraft fees of $40. So I would be negative $200 just because I'm broke. And so I'm
Wow.
like, hey, can you turn off this auto pay? And yeah, but you told us you're working DoorDash, so we're gonna have to increase your insurance by $55. And I'm like, I quit. And okay, well you have to make say all these acknowledgments. I'm like, great, you promised that you won't work DoorDash, blah blah blah. I promise.
Scout's honor.
But you had your fingers crossed behind your back, so that...
No, for real, with these gas prices, I might as well. I was like, you know what? I was about to quit anyways, and I'm making money from tutoring and whatnot. I just needed the money now, so I did DoorDash. But yeah, it was just
swear.
I was thinking of Team America. It's like, you have to promise me you'll never die. I promise. And yeah, so that was all within 1 hour, and I'm just up until that point, I was actually trying really hard to work on my anger. I was just all right, calm down, right, have some patience, don't fucking be angry about everything all the time. Just because there's another car on the road doesn't mean you need to glare at them. They can drive; they're allowed to do that.
No, they're not.
Not allowed.
And yeah, and then the universe is like, oh, you want to be less angry? Well, what if I fucked you 6 ways from Sunday in 10 minutes? And so that was my nightmare. I'm okay now, but I'm definitely late on my car insurance payment.
Yeah, I figured you were under a lot of stress lately.
Difficulty level, Ethan.
God saves all of his strongest challenges for his strongest
Right.
people.
Most people just put up with that bullshit and they're like, it's just accepted as reality though. I know a lot of people. It's just their whole life is that.
Oh yeah, I've met some people like that where it's like, dude, you did everything right, but the universe keeps fucking you. It's like Keanu Reeves, like his family. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Keanu Reeves really got shafted,
Yeah.
and you can see definitely pre and post that.
What happened with Keanu Reeves?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What didn't?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a Google question.
Okay.
yeah. You
It's
should
too
you should
complicated
look
to
at
really.
you should look into that.
Yeah. There's a reason he's such a somber-looking individual. He's not had a happy life.
And why he's so goddamn humble, and why everybody loves him, because he's just like
Yeah.
fuck all the bullshit, you know.
Right.
In case you can't tell by my stream, I just opened up Wikipedia.
Yeah, we can. You're all
Flashbang.
you're fucking whited out there.
You don't use dark mode?
That's
Wikipedia
that
has dark
ultra
mode?
wide. Every time he opens up a
Should.
notepad document, he gets a fucking tan.
I don't know why it took him so long to get fucking dark mode on everything.
It did take a
Coding
long time.
hard.
A long time. Like some things are just now like I think it
Well,
wasn't Google, right? Or it was Facebook. Somebody just recently implemented it.
No, it was Google.
Yeah, it was Google.
Because for the longest time, I used a third-party theme to get dark mode.
Yeah, I got Dark Reader on.
yeah, I did the same thing with Facebook. I had to use a utility to make it dark. Yeah, something to do with conventions. Like, you ever notice, like, oh, this is a design convention that we all have to follow. Like, but it looks like shit. No, but we all have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like dark background. That's unprofessional. Like, yeah, but it looks like, but a
but-
bright background looks like shit. So why are we doing
But it doesn't burn out my retinas.
Yeah. Well, that may be okay for hobby websites, but we're a professional one, so we need white and blue. Those are the colors: white and blue.
The two that most make you not, the two that are the worst for your sleep cycles.
Every fucking logo, I swear to God, is just white and blue, right? Like,
Or
there are
green.
exceptions.
It's a little green in there sometimes.
It's mostly white and blue, right? Like Twitter, white and blue. Facebook, white and blue.
What I don't like is like how every gamer fucking logo is just like the same generic art style. I don't know if
Dell
you
is
guys
white and blue.
know what
Lowe's
the
is white
fuck I'm
and blue.
talking about.
Ford is white and blue. HP, Pepsi, GM, Skype. You know,
There's some psychological properties associated with those wavelengths of light.
it's just the least offensive. That's really what it is. My high school was white and blue. One of them, anyways.
Green and gold for Richland, but their mascot was a fucking mushroom cloud.
Yeah, military school had the best one. They had maroon and gold. That was cool.
I loved our mascot in high school, and then one time I think I was junior year, they asked us because obviously a mushroom cloud is offensive. Because I remember going, because I was in marching band, I had my Letterman jacket on. We were in Seattle for a contest, and people would stop us and question the fact, like, why the fuck we had a mushroom cloud on the back of our jacket. Like they were offended. And so when they asked us, they were like, all right, we're gonna have a contest to draw like the new mascot for Richland High. So all the students had to put in their idea. And I just drew a picture of Japan underneath the mushroom cloud. Needless to say, they didn't change the logo. It's still the same.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, it's just historically accurate.
That was what they were offended about. Like, this mushroom cloud could be anywhere. Which one are you referring to? I need accuracy in your logo.
Technically, our mascot was the Bombers. It was a B-17 bomber, but the symbol for the school was a mushroom cloud. And people don't like that, apparently.
I mean, if you wanted to be lore accurate.
Yeah, it's precisely. I was just trying to give credence to the fucking history here.
Is the B...
Was your like football mascot, like the guy who ran around the field, was he just like a radiation burn victim?
No, he was a shadow on the pavement. No, he was just a dude in a jumpsuit carrying around a bomb. Literally, it was just
cool.
like, yeah, it was just cool.
He was a super mutant.
Your fight song was just the theme of Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh God, talk
I,
about making me sad.
I enjoyed when my high school went through a whole rebrand because we merged with another school. So naturally, of course, we couldn't spell out the letters of the high school to make the mascot head. So they were like, "Oh, well, we'll have a competition to see who can draw the best horse head." Well, somebody just went on the internet and got clip art of a horse and submitted it, and naturally it was accepted because why not?
Why not?
Turns out it was the mascot for a college that somebody had blatantly ripped off, and my high school got sued by the college for using their mascot.
Nice.
That kid's like, ha ha, gotcha.
Yeah, that kid's the real one.
It's like, watch this.
Yeah. That's funny.
We had to pay the high school had to pay like some absurd number of thousands of dollars for using this mascot head for so many years without paying it, and then going forward they had to continue paying it.
They
was
can
so
just
stupid.
change it.
No, because they're like,
Dude.
oh well, we like the design of it, like we're not going to change it because it's a good design, and we already
It
have the
was
design
free.
on our gym floor.
Now they just have to pay for it.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to change the design on your gym floor?
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd
Do they do
think
math in that
it's-
state?
it's not, because the gym floor is usually wood. Or I'm assuming the gym floor is the basketball court, or am I just retarded here?
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
so
that's yeah.
there's a lot of work that goes into that, because they got to put like all the work onto the wood, and then they got to cover the wood and
Yeah, that's why you
bullshit.
pay someone to do it, Sam.
Yeah, but that's a lot of fucking money. That's like
Yeah.
tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, they redid like our main gymnasium when they redid the mascot too, so they were all super proud about the new gym floor, the new mascot, and they had a great big unveil party, and like the entire town was there for it.
Imagine how
Damn.
that kid feels when they're like patting him on the back in the middle of December, like, this
Like,
is the guy who
"Good job."
designed our mascot. He did such a good job.
Good
Everyone
job."
clap for him. He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. 3 years later, you've been slapped with a $27,000 fine.
Is it this red Bronco?
Which
Is-
one?
It's facing to the left. It says Lind Ritzville, Spragan,
Yeah,
red and black.
Spriggan.
Oh, Sprague.
Sprague.
It's how part of the text was not in the image, so
It's actually Sprague.
Sprague. Okay. Sprague.
You guys ever watch Al Jazeera?
I mean, sometimes.
I mean, I read
Just
news
a-
articles from them sometimes.
So Al Jazeera did an article on the offensiveness of Richland Bombers mascot, like school thing.
Mhm.
And they always pick like the most podunk, redneck, retard looking fucking dude that you can imagine. And so it's literally just like this. You ever seen those guys with the ultra power gut beer belly, but like every single other part of them is like emaciated? Like they've got no fat on their legs, arms, anywhere else but their gut. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So they got
Yeah,
some
it's
guy
like
that
a
looked
hard
like
sphere for a gut.
yeah, they got some guy that looked
Like
like
they
that
swallowed a
driving like
globe.
some old rusty fucking 59 Chevy truck, wearing like a super faded green jacket, just ranting and raving about like how he's got all this goddamn. Because apparently back in the day it used to be called Coal High, Columbia High. I just remember that article for some fucking reason. It's like, why the fuck do they care about some shitty fucking town in Eastern Washington?
Right.
Yeah, why does they?
Why does that?
Matt-
I've got like 3 different people messaging me right now going, bro, help me out with this boss in Elden Ring. I'm like, I can't. I'm busy.
Matt, want to hear another church story? Church
Want to
camp.
hear another church?
Yeah, that shit was fucking crazy.
God damn it. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out which one I'm thinking of here. No, not the B20.
Screaming about what your
21?
dick was called to the river was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The B21. What the fuck was the all silver bomber with 4 engines?
B-29?
Yeah,
No.
B29. Wasn't it?
Something like that. It wasn't the B-17,
Yeah,
it was
It was B29.
Yeah,
Yeah.
B-29 Super Fortress. There was a burger named after it at a at a little shack right next to the school here. All their burgers were named after.
That place
World
was
War II
fucking
bombers.
dope. I don't mean to derail what you're getting into, but that place was fucking amazing.
was.
And then they sold it out to some stupid, shitty firefighter fucking coffee bullshit.
Yeah.
And they had some like 3-year-old paint the side of the building.
Yeah, no, that was a tragedy whenever that place. shut
Yeah.
down. Although Firehouse coffee Little Firehouse Coffee does have screaming good bagels.
Dude, the Bombers place used to make Euros. I went there all
I
the
know,
fucking
they were
time for them.
amazing.
I know. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah. Anywho,
Try to think a bit, but
I don't know what I missed, so I feel nothing.
Well, when I was in high school, it was like literally like not across the street, but down the hill from where I went. So I would have $5 a day to eat, and so I'd go get a cheeseburger, fries, and some fry sauce, and I would just go eat there for lunch and come back to school.
so Ethan, you've had a belly buster from Zips, right?
Yeah,
So imagine
think
that.
I'm sure that's the only thing they sell because that's what everyone gets. So.
Well, imagine that, but like 40% better. That was what.
Yeah,
That
It
was
was
what Bombers
delicious.
only
Cafe.
40%, huh?
Yeah.
it was. I mean, Burger Busters.
I mean,
are
those
pretty
are already
goddamn
pretty good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I would argue that Zips is better than In-N-Out.
I don't like In-N-Out. I thought their burgers
Yeah,
tasted like shit when I had them.
Like it's hard for people to accept, but Zips is superior. I think.
Zips, I have a love-hate relationship with Zips.
I think we all do, right?
Well, you live in Ritzville.
because-
It's like the only restaurant. Well, I mean, you did live in Ritzville. It's like the only restaurant you had there.
Well, we had Zips. There's either Zips,
It's
McDonald's,
true, you did.
Taco Bell, or later in the decade, Subway.
Holy shit! I think I have a story about Ritzville.
Or that convenience store that had the guy working there that like looked like a clone of Jeff Bridges.
Hold on. Hold up. Yeah. So, okay, I got a story about Ritzville. That's on the way to Spokane. Yeah. So when I was in the Marine Corps, I get a random call, 509 number from Ritzville, and it's some chick looking for somebody else. And I'm on like patrol duty in the middle of the night on the beach with this Mexican kid who can barely speak English. And I get this fucking call from this bitch. And then I was like, wait. I know you got the wrong number, but I'm super fucking bored right now. And it turned into like a 9-month like sexting thing. This just like some crazy bitch who worked at McDonald's from Ritzville.
Probably
Anyway.
newer.
Maybe. I mean, it was like within 2 days, not even 2 days. It was like the next day she was just sending me nudes. And I was just like, fuck, man.
Damn, you rolled high in charisma for that one.
Well, I
I mean, it's
guess.
Ritzville. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not a lot.
I assumed that there was a little bit of an advantage with that. She's like, oh, fuck, a Marine? Okay. Let's...
Oh, Marine? Oh, hell yeah. Get me out of this fucking
God, that was,
place.
and then one day we were just like, all right, this is boring. I'm done.
No, yeah, no.
I've
Basically,
been through Ritzville a lot.
if you live in Ritzville proper and like you basically like the high school dropout of Ritzville, you usually just work at the McDonald's there, or the Perkins before it went out of business.
I went skydiving in Ritzville.
Outside of Ritzville.
Well, there's a
outside of
Zips and there's a Holiday. There's a Days Inn and shit, right?
Well,
Or
yeah,
the-
now.
now. I don't know, man. I've been driving through Ritzville like since I was a little kid, but the only thing I remember from it was the Zips. Now that I think
Yeah.
about it,
Zips used to be really good, and then like something happened, and like all of the drug addicts of Ritzville started working at it, and then it kind of took a nosedive, and then they kind of cleaned themselves up, kind of, but yeah. Usually we never really went to Zips. We just went to McDonald's because we were like, oh well, you know.
what's the economy in Ritzville? Is it
Not
what
good.
what drives it?
Wheat.
It's not just Zips. Oh, wheat. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, of all the
Ritzville.
places I could have chosen to go skydiving, that was the most boring one because it's just nothing. It's just
Yeah, it's just
Brown
fields of
shaped
farmland for as
Yeah.
long as like far as the eye
You
can
can't
see.
even tell if you're falling or not because
Yeah.
there's no change in the texture of what you're looking at as you're falling.
You get a bird's eye view of dirt.
yeah, miles
That's
upon
it.
miles upon miles of nothing.
Like if you just
Yeah.
open paint.exe and then click brown and then the fill
Yeah.
bucket on the square,
Mhm.
that's basically what you would see
Mhm.
on the way down.
I've driven to Spokane more times than I can count, and it is
How high can you count?
the lamest fucking drive I've ever been on.
Well, he's a Marine, so probably not past 12.
I mean, I have 10 fingers, so
You got 10 toes too.
yeah, but my shoes are on, so I
One
can't
dick,
get
too.
those.
Oh, so 12 it is then.
Yeah.
No, so Ritzville is interesting. The only real thing that's keeping that thing alive is the warehouse, which is the wheat industry and the fast food industry. And anybody who loses a transmission, there is one automotive shop that I would trust with repairing my car there.
Which one's that?
It's the one in
Adams
Ritzville.
Automotive.
Yeah.
What? What did you say,
Adams
Ethan?
Autom-
Oh,
no.
Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I've never actually driven into Ritzville. Like
Yeah, you're not
for the
missing much.
longest time, I always just thought Ritzville meant the gas station, McDonald's, and Zips.
Yes, I mean that's basically it. That's why everybody stops. It's gas station, McDonald's, and Zips, and now Love's.
Oh, it's got Lowe's. Holy shit!
Damn.
Or no, Love's, the truck stop.
Oh yeah, Love's.
Oh, that's who you guys are talking about. That's Ritzville. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
You
the
should
halfway.
have-
It's the halfway point between here and Spokane, basically.
Here and somewhere else you'd want to be.
Yeah.
So what's actually funny is the city hall before that Love's truck stop got put in was an absolute fucking riot. Like people did not want that truck stop going in. Which is
It's like
hilarious
the defining
because
feature of that place now.
I know, right? It's
Like, what
literally
was the
driving
logic?
the economy.
What was the logic behind not wanting it?
It's gonna destroy the town. Like you're gonna have a bunch of truckers that's gonna come in and they're gonna like ruin the town or like go
What
and get drunk
town?
at the bar. Yeah, that's what I said.
What town?
And they're like, oh well, they're gonna be a bunch of rough truckers and they're gonna go downtown and get drunk at the bar and then go back and be trying to get back to their trucks and get hit on the freeway. It's like
You're gonna invite all these methed out truckers. They're gonna steal our food and rape our women.
pretty much is exactly what they said. And there's one guy who was all pinnerated about like how we were gonna get like water and sewer across the freeway to provide for the Love's truck stop. And they're like, do you have any idea what a ditch witch is? Like
Mm.
you can tunnel that shit across fairly freaking easy, dude. But our mayor was like over it by like the fourth meeting that these people were like going up and they're like, we shouldn't put the Love's truck stop in because my father's wagon's lug nut fell off in that specific spot and it's sacred ground and you're gonna destroy the
It's-
spirit of this town by putting in a
you-
big truck stop.
As you get older and inevitably interact more with your town's infrastructure and not try to escape to the city, you realize how much Citizens of Pawnee is not a parody, but a documentary on what
Yeah.
town halls are actually like.
Have you guys ever been out to Clarkston, Lewiston?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to live in Clarkston. That was a shithole. God, I got mugged there when I was like 5 years old.
Who the fuck mugs a 5?
Yeah. What the fuck?
What the fuck
And
are they gonna
you know
take
what
from
they you know what they
candy?
mugged? They mugged my. I had a bottle of Gatorade. That was it.
Give me your Gatorade, kid. I'm real thirsty.
Seriously, it was fucking traumatizing. And then I
Fucking
realized
dehydrated over here. Give me the goddamn Gatorade.
I was just riding my bike
ass
and some
kid.
dude just stopped in his truck. Give me your fucking shit, kid, and pushed me out my bike, kicked me, and then took my shit. And then I just knocked on a door and I was like, someone just mugged me.
That that weird little anomaly of Eastern Washington, where like Ritzville and all this.
Pomeroy, fucking.
Yeah, that's such a strange series of tiny
you
towns.
talk about crazy towns. Lind, Washington.
Oh,
is
yeah?
a crazy town.
Lind.
Yeah, it is. It's like 15 to 20 minutes south of Ritzville on 395.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing there. Like there's no reason for a
Oh, yeah,
town to
yeah, yeah.
exist.
See, the trick is you gotta get somebody drunk in a bar.
It's agricultural, dude.
Not even.
You gotta get somebody drunk in a bar, and you gotta get them to agree bet them that you can drive from Tokyo to Moscow in under 2 hours.
Dude, Dayton was pretty dope, though. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you've ever been through Dayton.
I don't think I've
Back
been
in
to
the
Dayton.
day, Dayton. I mean, Dayton's a tiny ass little fucking town, but
Played
they
it
had
well.
this dope ass. It was a old city bus that had been transformed into a restaurant. And that place was fucking dope.
Hmm.
I only knew that because we used to drive from Richland to fucking Clarkston, like what it felt like every goddamn weekend. And I lived in an RV in some shitty fucking crazy RV park in Clarkston, but for some reason I have the most fondest memories of that.
No, I remember somebody opened up a coffee shop in Lind, Washington.
Damn.
My first thought was, who the fuck are you selling coffee to? Nobody in that town can afford to buy a coffee. My
Spend it
second
all on
thought
meth.
was, exactly. My second thought was, what fucking building did they put it in that was up to health code enough for them to put a restaurant in?
We should go on a tour of Eastern Washington little shitholes.
Go to Sprague.
In 2019,
Sprague.
in 2019, me and some friends went ghost hunting. And we just found like all of the haunted places in Washington and made a big loop. We went north from here to where is it? What was it called?
What's going on in this Discord server?
And we went like almost to the border of Canada, going north for like this abandoned school, and then we went west through like Cooley City and Skykomish and all those, and then came down through and hit that big giant bridge next to Seattle, and then looped back around. And
Oh,
came
so
back.
you're on the western side of the state.
It's like a 3-day trip. It was fun.
You know what's a really cool place that I thought was really fucking lame when I was a kid? Leavenworth.
Leavenworth is awesome, dude.
I love Leavenworth. I remember as a kid, like originally I was just like, this is fucking lame, Mom, Dad. Why are we here? I mean, the mountains are cool, but there was one store that had, and I might be just over exaggerating because I was a kid, but there was a dragon that had to have been like 3 feet across, and it was flying in the air. So the dragon was like it was like swooping down to like blow fire on some people or whatever. And the only thing that was holding the dragon up was its column of fire that was coming out of its mouth, which was like hand blown glass. And it had been broken like several times, and you could see all the repairs. And I just remember going like, what the fuck? Like, and then it had a whole base that it was attached to. It was like, how the fuck do you move that? I guess you just don't. It's just going to stay in here forever. Just a memory that stuck out to me. I want to go back to Leavenworth.
Leavenworth is also a place we went on that trip.
Little German
is
town
really
in the
cool.
fucking Washington.
Yeah.
Oh God, small German towns. Odessa's Deutsches Fest.
Yeah.
That's always a fun time.
If you can find any place to fucking park within a mile of it.
You can park on the outside of town and then walk in because it's small enough.
That's
Funny story about Odessa. My mom and I were actually in a car accident when we were going through Odessa from like a basketball tournament when I was in like elementary school. And yeah, it was like oh God, I don't even know what time it was. It was like 8 o'clock at night or something. But we were coming out of Odessa. In order to get out of Odessa, because some fucking genius decided it should just be in the middle of a canyon. There's like a hard, there was like a hard like 90-degree left turn, and then it would take you on the road up out of the canyon, back on top.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody put a house like right behind the 90-degree turn. So in the middle of the night, like my mom's driving, of course, and she goes past some kids on the sidewalk. Well, she like looks in her rear view mirror for some reason because she's like looking at the kids, and then like the next thing I know is like we're in somebody's yard, like going towards the tree, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, this is how we fucking die. Like, this is cool. But we end up getting stopped on like one of those like green electrical like utility
Oh.
boxes,
Yeah.
and yeah, the car was like high centered or something, and the person who lived in the house like came out and she's like this old like grandma style. She's like, "Oh, you crashed there too, huh?"
Is that just what you do around here?
It's just like this is a common occurrence. Like every other week, you have people just show up in your front yard and take out your electricity. Like,
One of my earliest memories was of my mom in a severe act of road rage where somebody had cut her off and followed her for like hours, just chased her around the city until she finally got out of her car. And I remember this like horrified, because when you're at night, you don't know who's behind you. All you see is headlights and this fucking car chasing you. And so I just see this horrified face of this old woman, like, you know, more middle-aged, get out of her car and like sprint towards her house. And my mom gets out of the car and chases after her. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? Like,
She's
why
out
are
for
you
blood.
doing this? She's the kind of person that would, like, if they didn't give you the right size fries at McDonald's, she would just go ape shit and just start screaming.
she's one of those ones. I love those people.
Until I started fucking telling her to chill the fuck out. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Mom. Eastern Washington, man. What a
Eastern
place.
Full of fucking crackheads.
Anytime I go anywhere around the country and I'm like, oh, I'm from Washington. Oh, but I'm from the Eastern Desert.
No one
Part
has
of
any concept
Washington.
of what that is. It's like,
Yeah,
huh? What is?
yeah.
Is it also a rainforest?
Yeah.
No.
There's lots of wheat
Seattle
and
stole all of
asparagus.
our rain.
There's asparagus everywhere.
Seattle
lot of
took our
apples, dude.
goddamn rain.
You know, it was always a pleasure in college when you were going around the room introducing yourself. They were like, oh, yeah, you know, tell us about yourself. Tell us where you're from or something like that. It's like, yeah, I'm Matt. I'm from Reddsville, Washington. They're like,
Mhm.
oh, where's that? And I was like, middle of fucking nowhere. I guarantee if I tell you where it's at in Washington, you won't know.
Yeah.
Even if I tell you where it's at, you will not care. Yep, every
Unless
single
you've
time.
been to Spokane from the Tri-Cities, then you know where
Every
it's
single
at.
time. I'm like, does anybody know where Reddsville, Washington is? And everybody's just like, no, I've never heard of that. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not telling you where it's at. It's not worth it.
Apparently, Richland High is a Grammy accredited school. All up until our pedophile music teacher got caught. And then it kind of went downhill from there.
Oh, hey, Kennewick High had a pedophile teacher too.
No way, man.
Is it just like,
It's almost like the job attracts a certain
Yeah,
type.
it's almost like it's enticing for them somehow.
Yeah, the annex building to Kennewick High used to be called Pickerel Hall because everybody loved Mr. Pickerel, but Mr. Pickerel loved all the students a little too much.
Dude, that was the same way for Mr. Eves, man. Like I was in band for 4 years while I was there, and then so the year after I got graduated, he got busted, and it made perfect sense at that point. Not only because I would always joke and call him a pedophile, which I never do, except for Jared the Subway guy. He, like, all these really weird, non-qualified chicks were getting put into these positions of power, like the drum major. Like, why the fuck? She's not very good at her job. Oh well, whatever. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. That's totally logical.
Somebody
fuck,
screen
we
sharing
got the
something?
Romans running through England right now.
What? Is that some slang?
Yeah.
We got the Romans running through England right now?
Look at him. You're not watching Ethan's stream.
Oh, he's
No.
playing Elden Ring.
He started streaming in Discord.
Oh. The Romans running through England? What the fuck?
He looks like a fucking Roman.
He looks like he's got the fucking wreath on his head, just slaying pigs and shit.
Yeah. He's running through like Germania or something.
I don't want to watch because I've never been to this area yet.
Yeah, I don't know how to get rid of this now that I've clicked on it.
He's like an extreme weeaboo Roman.
It comes full circle.
Oh yeah, there it is. Roma Invicta.
Maybe Ethan has the out of all the people on planet Earth
we
has
go.
the potential to be the biggest weeb, but he's afraid of what that would look like, so he just resisted.
It's such a stupid
Too much
argument.
power.
It's like, oh, you hate spiders. That means you want to fuck spiders. Like, no, man.
Hey man, there's a lot of people out there. It might be true at least for one of them.
A lot of people out there. A lot of people out
It
there
doesn't.
just want to fuck.
Yeah,
but
but if you're making an argument for likelihood,
I mean, I'm not.
Just
I'm
one
just,
of them isn't a very good
I'm just trying to
strata.
project, I guess.
a lot of people scared of dudes. A lot of people fuck dudes. You know, it's kind of.
What was that super straight meme a while back? It was like, how'd it go? I only date lesbians because even straight chicks like dick, and that's gay.
That wasn't. I don't think that's what it was.
No,
but
there
it's
was a
fun.
super straight thing,
No,
though.
yeah, there was a super straight meme going around for a while.
Well, there
You
wasn't
had to
just
date
Oh,
there
yeah,
wasn't just the
I
meme.
only
Like there
fuck
was a whole
dudes.
thing about it.
That
Like,
was a meme. It was like
It was a meme.
10% a bunch of fucking like neckbeards, and then 90% meme.
Is that like the Futanari meme?
What?
The Futanari green text, where it's like you can't watch regular sex because it's 50% gay because you're looking at one dude's dick, and you can't watch lesbian porn because it's 100% gay because it's two gay chicks. So the
Mm.
only way to like offset the gay is to watch Futanari porn because it's like the least amount of gay possible because yeah, it's a chick with a dick, but she's also fucking a chick.
Look, just because you say Futanari doesn't mean it's not just trans porn. Like that's what it is. It's trans porn. Like just because you've dressed it up with Japanese words doesn't mean it's not trans.
It's exotic, Ethan.
Exotic.
Good God. We went there. We've
Yep.
gone.
Well,
we've
you
come all the
invited
way
Matt.
around.
What did you expect?
Well,
Expected
know what I
fucking church camp
expected.
stories. God damn it!
We expect church camp stories, and we're
we
getting
just went on a. I just have never really talked to anybody about my Eastern Washington escapades before. So
Yeah, it was because we all live in Eastern Washington. We don't.
Well, yeah, but you didn't grow
Yeah.
up here.
That's not true. I did.
I thought you grew up in Detroit.
I did for like 10, like from the ages of 10 to like 18. I was in Detroit. Sorry, 10 to 20. 10 to 20. I was in Detroit. But before that, I was in Richland.
Oh,
I lived here.
gotcha.
So
you are a native.
I am. I was born in Seattle, and then I quickly moved to Richland. I don't actually know where my old house is because I think it doesn't exist anymore.
I was
'Cause
born
we've
in
had so much development, but
Coeur
yeah.
d'Alene,
Or
I
do
gr-
you lean?
and then I spent from 0 to I think about 10 in Post Falls. That place was dope. If you've never been to Coeur d'Alene, apparently they hate Washington people.
Oh, big time.
Because everyone's so goddamn rude from over here. But Coeur d'Alene is beautiful. Weather could be a little shit, but can't be worse than Canada, right?
Do they hate Washington or do they hate Seattle?
I think they
No.
hate Spokane,
Yeah, I think they mostly hate Spokane people.
but Spokanistan is Spokanistan, so
Spokompton. I mean,
Yeah,
I
well,
like Spokane in a
they
certain
call
kind of
us the-
way, but yeah,
I hate Spokane.
They call us the dry shitties.
that's because we are the dry shitties.
Yeah, seriously.
Not
As a
wrong.
kid, this place fucking blows, but as you become an adult, you learn to appreciate that it's
Yeah,
actually
it's
kind
just-
of nice.
Quiet and simple, you know.
Yeah.
But it has just enough that you need. It's like yeah, there's not a whole lot going on, but we do have an airport. You know, so if I want to go anywhere,
But the
It's right
population
there.
density is not too bad, and the traffic is
Yeah.
fine.
and there's
Yeah.
just enough for the food is interesting, and it's not just Chinese buffets. You
It's
know?
got everything that you need.
It's like, oh, you want Thai food? Yeah, we have that. We have good Thai food.
There could be more food. But
There
that's
could
just
be
my
more
opinion.
we have
dude, the
no
food here
shawarma. We have
is-
substandard shawarma. You know.
The Mexican food here blows. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about the food.
The Mexican food here is dog shit.
It's
It is
overpriced as hell.
And if you've never been to San Diego, you haven't had real Mexican food.
Oh, I lived
about-
in Arizona. I've had real Mexican food.
Okay, yeah, that's
What
true.
about Taco Super Uno?
Taco Super
It's
is-
adequate. It's a good
it's-
substitute
yeah.
for what could be considered good Mexican food.
My favorite is El Portón, right across from Taco Super Uno.
They've been closed for a while.
Mm.
You just ate there like a month ago.
No, I ate there like 2 days ago.
Oh, really? I was over there trying to deliver, and they were closed. So.
Well, they just are usually just closed whenever. Sometimes I'll be by there at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They're closed.
So like closed.
It's pretty
Indefinitely,
acceptable though.
like-
No, because if it was indefinite, they wouldn't have a fucking shit there. A permanent taco truck.
Indefinite doesn't mean permanent. Oh no, we're talking about L, whatever, not super. No,
The wild taco.
no. Why would I be? Wouldn't I say that? Wouldn't I say the wild taco?
El
I thought
Portón is
that's
an
what-
actual Mexican restaurant.
Yeah,
Oh.
you go in there and you sit down.
I've
You
never
don't have
been
to
there
guess
before.
at words if we just tell you what they are.
I was just assuming based off of things I thought you said.
Ain't nobody got anything on El Road.
Where is El Portón?
It's
by the. It's diagonal across from Fred Meyer's, across the intersection. It's right next to Roasters.
Oh yeah, those actually I've eaten there before, and they had some bomb ass carne asada fries.
Yeah.
They were fucking dope.
That's probably the best in the Tri-Cities.
Yeah, I
still
should
not,
go there again.
Still doesn't hold
I
candle
I
to
literally never
Southwest.
go over there because it's just I don't know. I never think about it.
It's in a weird little spot.
It is that whole shitty little industrial area right across from fucking Fred Meyer's.
Mm-hmm.
It's just full of fucking rotting cars and shit.
No, you guys have more Mexican restaurants than I do, so I have.
We have a lot of
three.
taco trucks too, but then again, we have like this weird little pocket where we have like like it's usually just along the border between Mexico and then in the Tri-Cities. That's where all the Mexicans are at.
Well,
Don't forget Moses Lake and Othello.
It's mostly in the Tri-Cities, but this area, yeah, it's like here.
Have you seen Othello?
I mean, I haven't been there in a while, but I don't want to go there.
well, you know
Well,
why?
why
The,
not?
you know why the food is good in the Southwest and bad here, right? Like, you
Yeah,
know about that?
I told you about that.
Yeah.
The whole northern Mexican, southern Mexican thing.
Mhm.
That's
Which is a weird.
yeah.
It's kind of a weird
tell it for the
phenomenon.
audience that we may or may not have. I'll be right back.
The so basically, whenever Mexican immigrants come over from like the southern parts of Mexico, they go to like the northernmost parts of the United States, like statistically commonly, and whereas people closer to like northern Mexico and the border regions, they only just go just over the border and then they just don't go any further north. And so the reason that like California and New Mexico and Arizona stuff, the reason their Mexican food is better in our opinions is because it's northern Mexican food, whereas the Mexican food we have here is primarily southern Mexican food. So it's just kind of weird that happens, but it does.
Yeah, well, I have Pancheros, so
I mean, Pancheros is perfectly acceptable. It's just not authentic.
I have. Let's see. There's
Are you an authentic Mexican or an inauthentic Mexican?
Well, it's like Chipotle. It's like calling a Taco Bell Mexican food.
yeah, exactly. Like of any Mexican place here, like we have two that I would consider Mexican. That's Paradiso and La Carreta, and that's like it. There's no other Mexican places here.
Any place that resembles the name Berto, like Araberto, Roberto, whatever, down in San Diego is just so fucking good.
There were many restaurants in the areas around the towns around where I lived in Arizona that that were named El Rey something, and those were all fucking amazing.
Yeah. And then you get back up here and it's just like I've been lied to my whole life.
We have Taco Del Mar.
That's
Oh
how it
my
is with
God.
shawarma. If you ever go to like Michigan or whatever and have proper shawarma, or New York, and you're like, this is amazing, and then you come here and you're like, what the fuck? Like, are you like Seattle shawarma? They have loads of shawarma places, but they're all bad. All of them are bad, except for like Sultan's in the U District, and that's about
It's
it.
like somebody who went there and had good shawarma once and then went back and tried to recreate it.
I could totally
Yeah.
do that in my hometown.
You could, dude. You can get away with it too.
Yeah.
Nobody fucking knows.
You don't even have a fucking vertical rotisserie. You just like bake some beef.
Yeah, right.
Just have some It's beef like deli meat from your.
You go to
fridge
Albertsons,
drawer.
get some roast beef, and just kind of fry it for a second.
Yeah.
That reminds me,
I
I'm gonna
mean-
make corned beef and cabbage on. St.
We
Patty's
finally
Day.
got an authentic ramen place.
Mm.
So there's that.
Wait, are you in Washington still, or are you somewhere else?
North
North
Dakota.
Dakota.
Oh, yeah, I don't know shit about North
I'm in-
Dakota.
Fucking frozen tundra of
The Alabama of the North.
Wasn't that like voted like one of the most boring states, or was
Yes.
that Iowa or some shit?
No, North Dakota is pretty fucking boring. You can drive for 3 hours and not see anything, and then you can turn around
Ooh.
and go the opposite direction from where I live and go an hour and a half, and you'll hit Dickinson, and there's not much there. And then,
Dickinson.
and then you can go to, I think it's Medora, and Medora is about the most exciting place because it has the painted canyons, which is just multicolored dirt.
Wait, fucking Mount Rushmore's in South Dakota?
South Dakota.
Yeah, that's the only thing anybody gives a shit about there.
Yeah. We have prairie grass and the Missouri River runs through, I guess.
Hmm. Cool. You could take a shit in the Missouri River, and it'll get somebody in New Orleans
Eventually.
eventually.
Let's see, maybe if you got weak shits that float, mine sink because it's so dense.
We
They're Chad shits.
we have, what is it, the Theodore Roosevelt National Grassland, which it's grass.
Where all the counties are just like squares.
In Missouri, they name everything after Mark Twain. So anything interesting is just the Mark Twain noun, like the Mark Twain Cave, Mark Twain Riverboat, Mark Twain this.
Probably the funniest thing I've ever seen is there's one of our buddies that we went goose hunting with.
Mark Twain root beer. I'm not kidding. That shit's great.
Mark Twain printer drivers.
What? Shut up.
Anyway.
So one of our buddies we go hunting with sometimes. He farms around a town called Pettibone, and Pettibone has a population of like maybe 100 on a good day. Like if somebody's having a family reunion, maybe 100.
Nice.
And they have 2 churches in the town. Less than 100 people. 2
Holy
churches,
shit! It looks
one
like it could
bar.
fit in a football field. The whole town.
What's the
Yeah.
place called?
Pettibone.
Pettibone.
It's got a Harvester's Cafe in it.
Mm-hmm.
They're closed right now.
That's the kind of place you'd write a horror story in.
Yeah.
It's got Ranch Lake right next to it.
I wonder
Anyways.
what that lake tastes like.
Green, it looks like.
Not good.
Ranch Lake probably
Tastes
probably tastes the water in Ranch Lake probably tastes like the soil at Lake Ranch.
But yeah. No, we went hunting around there, and that can get sketchy at night because it's a bunch of good old boys in their pickups doing stuff.
That reminds me of True Detective season 1, actually. But that was in Louisiana.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a good show.
Is it super flat out there? Well,
Yeah, it's
mean-
more rolling hills.
mm,
Like misconception is that it's all just like flat land.
yeah.
It's a lot of just kind of like, they're not tall hills, but it's just enough to break up the monotony of prairie.
Mm. These are like the towns that we saw in Red Dead Redemption, but they just didn't really grow much further than what they were.
It's like
And you can't shoot everybody in them.
No, you still can.
Yeah, that's actually feasible with a town of
Yeah.
this size.
There's like one cop, maybe. I don't even. Does Pettibone
Start with
have
him.
a police
Sheriff.
force? No, a sheriff,
County
yeah.
the county sheriff
Yeah.
patrols it regularly.
You gotta start with that cop.
Yep.
But the sheriff knows everybody, type of deal.
Sheriff knows everybody. Sheriff knows which ones are, the domestic abusers and the meth grower or the meth makers. And
You just gotta get his cut.
Ooh, is
Brown-
Carol's Kitchen any good?
I don't think I went there.
I mean, because it's on the road. The one road that you have going from
Yeah.
east to west. Like,
Yeah. Funny thing about the roads in Pettibone, it's all gravel unless you are like actually in the town. Like the main road in and out is not paved.
Interesting.
At least I don't think it is.
So this reminds me of some stories my dad used to tell about Alaska, because he used to mine gold in Alaska, and it's the same deal. These little like butt fuck towns out in the middle of nowhere, but these towns were above the Arctic, circle line, so no trees grew out there, and they were pretty much like native like towns, and they would only usually have like an airport, and all their supplies were flown in. And one day he got like delayed, and so he got stuck there. So he got invited to the chief's house, and he was talking about how, they set him up in his living room, and he was just bored one night waiting for his next flight, going to the mine, which is like helicopter flight, and he opened up one of the doors to the living room, and it was, imagine just like a bedroom, but wall to wall, floor to ceiling, those little butane camp like lanterns, the little ones with the little
yeah.
cotton things or whatever, the things that light up.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, what the fuck's up with these? He was like, oh, well, the government like sends us so much shit every year for like survival out here, but we don't need like even 10% of it, so we just store it here. He's like, you want some? So he like took as much lanterns as he could and butane as he could. And then he got woken up one night to dogs just like screaming. Like, how dogs yelp and scream when they're in pain,
Mm-hmm.
but like dozens of them. And apparently in this village, the natives have the superstition where when a baby's being born, to keep away the evil spirits, they'll hit the dogs. They'll just beat the dogs. So everyone will come out and just start beating their fucking dogs with like sticks and shit, because they scream and make loud noises to scare away the evil demons. So for the whole night, it was just this cacophony of dogs and wolves just screaming all night.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
That's whack.
What a
Yeah.
stupid fucking tradition.
Yeah,
I know, right? My dad was just like, I mean, they were nice people and all, except if you were a dog.
Oh, dang it, I
God.
overslept through the dog beating again.
Yeah,
The fuck,
Going
man.
to hell for that one.
seriously. I watch a lot of TikTokers from northern Alaska and the little fucking villages that they live in. They're like, we have both a grocery store, a bowling alley, and a movie theater, and our only fast food restaurant, which is the Subway, in one building.
That sounds dope as hell. I'd go there.
And then like half the year, the sun never sets, and half the year it's just perpetual night,
Mm-hmm.
which
30 days of night type shit.
yeah. Like half the year you're on a snowmobile, half the year on your four-wheeler. Part of me wants to go out there and just see what it's like, but part of me doesn't. A part of me also wants to climb Mount Everest, but part of me doesn't. I just don't want to wait in a queue for like 5 hours on the top of a mountain peak at 30,000 feet, just waiting to die. And then if I do die, everyone will just look at me and be like,
We'll
well,
just leave you
he's
there.
dead. Yeah, just nothing we can do about it.
Look at this dude.
Just step over him, and then the next dead dude, and then the next dead dude.
God, which one? There's like the dead body that was still attached to like the long line that took you from like one of the peaks to like the main peak of Everest, and like he like fell off the path or whatever, and like nobody turned around to help him get back up on the path because it was like too much work. So
Yeah.
they literally just like hung another line like above his body that you would just attach your carabiner to, so then you just walk past him as he's just laying in the snow staring at people walk back and forth on this path. That's gotta be a hell of a way to die.
I got really obsessed with climbing Mount Everest for a while there. There's like a good like 4 or 5 months where I just studied it, and there are like hundreds of cases of that. One of the most disturbing ones was where one of the first alleged people who to climb Mount Everest died and just disappeared on the mountain, and these people were like looking for him, and they had done all this research to find where he might have died at. And so they get up to the peak, they summit, and then they start coming down, and they take a break where finally they're not in just like this huge line of queues that can just sit on some rocks. And one of the guys was talking about how he wanted to go off the path, kind of down the little mountainside a little bit to look for where he might have died. And the Sherpa is like talking him out. He's like, no, dude, you're going to fucking die. Like, if you basically divert from this path, there's like a 90% chance you're just we'll never see you again. So don't do it. So he's yelling at him. And so the guy has a GoPro on who's watching this argument take place. And then he kind of turns a little bit, and you don't really notice it at first because the argument that's taking place. But half the dudes that were in the group are sitting on this like little just ledge of rocks, but it's not rocks. It's like two corpses. They're just frozen there. You can see their face. It's just like, it's like porcelain white, and they're just like exhausted, just breathing on these fucking corpses. And then like up the little ways again, you see like two more corpses.
Oh jeez.
And so like apparently like when you're going up there, like a lot of the photographs don't do it justice, but there is just a literal line of bodies that are going from and down the peak.
Fuck that.
Yeah, part of me wants to do it, but fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that.
Enough people have proven that it's not really that hard to do, and enough people have died doing it to tell me that I don't want to risk doing it.
What was it? There's the one dude who was like climbing and he got lost and he went and he like sat in a cave and like a bunch of people walked past him looking for him and then he just died in the cave.
Yeah, he was called Green Boots because people walked. They actually got rid of his body recently, but it was a Pakistani climber, and he used to be a marker, like a waypoint. Like once you got to Green Boots, you know that you were this far up the cliff. Yeah, he just kind of curled up in the cave and died. Though there's the movie Everest. That's actually a pretty good depiction of what fucking goes on up there.
I just
What
wouldn't
was that?
want to go there because I don't want to go to a place that is where a human cannot live. Like
I think that's kind of the appeal for a lot of people.
The top of Mount Everest, your metabolism stops working. Like even if you have air, like
yeah,
it's what's wild the chemical process your body goes.
There's like 800 meters of just you cannot possibly ever hope to survive for very long. And like they've done tons of research on it. They'll bring doctors out that like climb up like halfway at camp like 3. And they'll have people go up, and you spend a night, usually a couple nights, because the whole trip takes months.
Yeah,
when you go up to camp,
you have to make multiple trips up and down to acclimate.
Yeah, to acclimate and shit, and it costs like $65,000 per person to do it usually. And what they'll do is they'll test people. They'll like go straight into their pelvis, into their main artery to pull out the blood. And every single time they do it, it's just like, yeah, you guys shouldn't be alive right now. Like your blood oxygen is like 65. Like it's like retarded low.
I'd rather go to Antarctica.
I watched
that
a video
looks
on
like
a guy
fun.
who did a solo trip to the North Pole or South Pole. I don't know which one. Which one is the one you can actually go to?
South Pole.
Okay,
North Pole's an ocean.
Did a solo trip with it's a Japanese guy with a bunch of dogs, and there was like a shortage on dogs too. So like they were all fucking shitty dogs, and he had to figure out which ones would go left when he said left, and which ones would go right when he said right, and then put them on the correct sides of the thing to get them to work right. And yeah, like in the first fucking day, he like lost a shitload of dogs and like dropped his sledge right in the water. And
yeah,
but yeah, he did the whole thing alone, and he actually accomplished it.
That's fucking crazy. A lot of people will talk about how reaching the South Pole is harder than getting to this International Space Station. I watch a few TikToks from people who work at the station down there, and apparently it's fairly easy to get a job there. You just gotta have to want to put up with that. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah,
I just like going to places that I might die.
I've seen some TikToks, YouTube videos, whatnot, of people at the Antarctic research stations during inclement weather, And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's negative however many degrees outside, and the wind speeds
97.
are like hurricane, like gale force winds." And they'll be like, "Yeah, check this out." And they open up the hatch, and it's just like the apocalypse is happening right outside the door. And it takes like 3
Yeah.
people to close the door, and they're like, "Yep, so that's what's going on outside right now."
It's like they have like airlocks.
Yeah, it's like it's North
in the-
Dakota there. It's so fucking
Yeah.
windy.
They like open up the door and it's just solid whiteout, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not allowed. Technically, you're not allowed to open this door when we're in this weather event." And they're like, "So why are you opening the door?"
Well, for
I was
context.
subscribed to a TikTok from a chick who worked in supply there, and so she would just make TikToks in her spare time and walk around the facility. And she's like, "Yeah, this is summer here. The sun never sets, blah blah blah, and it's like negative 64 degrees outside, which is a good day." And she goes outside wearing a t-shirt. She goes, "Yeah, I can't stay out here for more than like 3 seconds." And she shows you her nose, and it's like already porcelain white. She's like, "That's what frostbite looks like." And then she goes inside. She's like, and then one fucking crazy night, they go camping outside, like right outside the door. They put up a tent and like they had their sleeping bags and shit. They're like, "This is the hottest day of the year. We're gonna go camping outside."
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, what the fuck? It doesn't snow there. It's just constantly blowing ice.
It's too cold to snow.
Yeah.
No condensation.
They're probably hiding all the fucking Antarctic Nazis down there and shit.
The Antarctica Nazi base that's hidden under the ice.
Yep. I at work at the comic book store, they used to have a kind of a decent podcast system running, and I ran the whole podcast thing, and so I got to sit on all their podcasts, and on one of them it was they were talking about all the Nazi Antarctica shit, and I was like, "Huh, it's pretty interesting."
Yesterday, I was reading about all of the weird occult research that the Nazis did. How they were like really super obsessed with mythological items, Holy Grail,
That
Ark of the
shit's
Covenant.
fascinating.
It really is, and it's funny because like they had such differing views on it. Like Himmler was like really into it, and Hitler was like, "No, this is bullshit."
Yeah.
But they had like an entire research division that was
Yeah, they
devoted
whole
to
like
just,
like secret society practically.
yeah,
of
like
dudes
we're
gonna-
gonna find the spear of Longinus and take over the world, and
right, the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Indiana Jones will fuck that up.
yeah.
So, there is a YouTuber that Eric actually turned me on to. His name is Robert Seffer, and he talks about a lot of that shit. He'll talk about like RH negative bloodlines in like North Africa, and like he
What's
talks
that?
about all the. So you know what RH? Have you ever heard of that before?
No, I've never heard that term.
So like most people have RH positive blood.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only a very small amount of people that have RH negative blood, and they're always like European. And so like there's a lot he points out that there's like all of these weird blonde or red-haired, blue-eyed people that are all over the world. And like I think they're called the Ainu in Japan. The native Japanese people have like blue eyes, and they'll have like they look basically like Europeans. And then he'll talk about how in North Africa, the Berbers are like blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, and they're all RH negative. And the Eastern or Northern Spanish are that same way. And he'll just break down like all. And then he goes into crazy shit like Vril and like Nazi sex cults and fucking all this other crazy shit. It's just fucking interesting to watch.
Neat.
Weird.
But it's always weird because it's always this dude talking about all these crazy ancient bloodline shit, but it's literally every single video starts with him with some like royalty free like MIDI song of him walking down the beach holding his Pomeranian, just talking about how his day is, and then he's just like, "Oh, and by the way, the Nazis fucking did this, that, and this." It's just tripping. You should watch it.
There's a TikToker that I follow that he does a bunch of history content of like real events that went kind of under the radar. Like usually stuff where governments did criminal things in the past. A lot of it's in the 70s whenever everything was all fucky. But But he always starts out the videos like on today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make peach cobbler. First, you're going to make your dough. And did you know that in 1977, Cuba invaded Russia? Well, that's made up, but just the videos always just rapidly suddenly descend into this big history lesson on some horrific thing.
Did you know that in China there are several very large pyramids?
I did know that.
But the Chinese fucking government covered them up and planted trees on them?
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit.
Yep.
That's where the Stargate is.
I hope so, dude.
Yeah.
What would the show be like if communist China had found the Stargate first?
Well, that is actually one of the plot lines, sort of.
Yeah,
Instead of
sort
China,
of.
it's Russia.
Yeah, Russia
Yeah.
had a Stargate for longer than we did, I think.
Yeah, but they weren't.
They didn't figure out how to use it, though.
Yeah, they didn't really figure that shit out. They were just really upset every time they went on a mission with us, and for some reason.
Well, they ended up, like, midway through the show, they ended up giving us their Stargate as part of a political deal, because ours got blown up.
Yeah, because we needed it super bad.
Yeah.
And the whole show, and it's kind of ironic because the whole show was shot in Canada. It's like, what the fuck is happening? I'm like 3/4 of the way through that whole show.
I think I'm on
It
season
kind
8
of slows
now.
down a little bit, but what's his face when the nerd dies? Michael?
He's
Right?
back again.
Yeah, I know comes back again, but
He dies
When-
so many times throughout this whole show.
well, when he leaves the first time, it was kind of like a cop out. It was like almost like, okay, this dude's leaving because of personal reasons. It's not because the story's writing him out.
Mhm.
That's a good show.
It
I
was a
love
good
that
show.
show. I'm so glad that I'm just watching it now for the first time instead of back when it first came out. Because when it first came out, I was just like, this is just like a shitty Star Trek.
Yeah,
Fuck this.
right now I'm midway through the series of episodes where they just got their first like starship with the hyperdrive on it that the humans
Where
made.
they're like testing it out and
Yeah,
it's not working right.
The P3X or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, the Prometheus.
What was the dude's name? The main bad guy that was there for a while? Fucking
Apophis.
Apophis. I thought that when Apophis went out finally, it was kind of a cheap. I don't know. It didn't feel. Apophis kind of like left and then came back and then left again. And then when he finally was gone, it was just like.
Right now he's like kind of very at random. He's appearing like in Teal'c's consciousness.
Yeah.
Like they're still kind of stringing Apophis along a little bit.
Teal'c's storyline is actually next to O'Neill is probably my favorite.
Teal'c is a very interesting character.
Yeah, he's a really good character. With him and all the fucking. What was the fucking name of his people called?
The Jaffa.
The Jaffa, yeah. I gotta start watching that again.
Yeah.
You guys seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I keep meaning to because I know that I'm gonna think it's really funny, but I just haven't
It
started
is funny, dude. It's probably one of the funniest TV shows ever created. You've never seen it?
I've
Nope.
seen clips.
Oh my god. Just watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's delicious.
Have you seen The Umbrella Academy?
No.
That's a good one.
My super nerdy coworkers were constantly trying to get me to read the comics, and it kind of turned me off to it.
Yeah, fuck comics. Just watch the show.
You heard it here, folks.
Fuck comics. Just watch the show. Fuck the source material. Watch the adaptation.
Speaking of SG-1, I never liked the mainline plot, like the overarching plot. I never really gave a fuck. I just liked the sort of Planet of the Week
Yeah.
style nature of it. Like that
Mhm.
was what I was like, what wacky planet are we going to go to next?
Yeah,
Like,
it
that
was
always-
the Star Trek formula. That's what I was.
and they all looked like Northern Oregon.
Yeah.
yeah, or
Every planet is
fucking-
an evergreen forest.
or Northwestern Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them that looked like maybe the Midwest somewhere, but
Yeah, but that's why I love the show because it has the Star Trek episodic feel where each episode's its own story, but in each episode there's always this overarching storyline that's constantly being like touched on.
yeah.
Yep.
I liked when they finally got all the alien technology they could possibly want, made an alliance with these aliens and all that stuff, and then it turned out 10 years down the road that the aliens were making humans infertile and slowly causing us to go extinct.
That was a good story arc.
Yeah, and
Because
then
they eventually come back to that.
because then they come back to it and they're like, "Hey, so the planet we're looking for is this one, but we have a note here that says not to go to it."
Yeah, just literally a scribble on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
like "Don't go here." That was a good episode.
Yeah.
What was that TV show that like was a reboot of the one from the 70s with like the lizard people?
Battlestar Galactica.
No.
Was it V?
Lizard people.
V?
Yeah, it was like the lizard people, aliens that would like that dressed up as humans, and they're like, "Oh yes,
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't think there was a remake of it, but
well, it was a TV show in the 70s, and then they rebooted it in like 2012 or 11.
Doesn't ring any bells.
Doesn't ring any bells.
Alien Nation.
Was it that one?
Yeah,
That one.
and my
Oh,
dad
I
liked
remember
that
that show.
Yeah.
You guys remember Space Above and Beyond?
Oh, it was V.
V.
Where they
what
called
do you mean?
themselves the Visitors.
Yeah, wasn't that Alien Nation? I remember the show. I remember the show Alien Nation, but that was like a '90s show.
That one.
That one.
Yeah, there's a show
Oh,
literally just called V.
I've never seen that one before.
Yeah, it's just called V.
Interesting. Did you guys ever watch Space Above and Beyond?
Mm-mm.
That was like
Yes,
the
a little bit.
that was
My
like
dad
the
likes it.
ultimate Marine Corps show possible. Like where Stargate SG-1 was like the Air Force version of a show, like the practical, business-like, diplomatic thing. Space Above and Beyond was just like the fuck them, let's just kill them all.
Guns blazing.
Mm-hmm. How many Harley, can you link me the stream?
Yeah.
Or link the stream somewhere? I just want to see if anybody has do you have
There's two people in chat who have both said vor dot capital R red.
oh, those are bots.
Bots.
Yeah. Because you can have analytics that'll show you like how many people have watched at one given point in time. We just gotta chop up these little things we're doing and get the spicy bits. Probably when I say the I drop the F-bomb. That'll get some visitors. Space Above and Beyond, Earth 2 was a really good show that I really liked. It didn't last very long. God, what else was coming out in the 90s? You remember Sequest? The fucking dolphin and the submarine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Does
god.
not ring a bell.
Well, you didn't miss much. Yeah, Sequest. God, that show was fucking stupid. Apparently Babylon 5 though was like amazing.
My dad loves that show.
Apparently everyone that I know that watched it swears upon it, where like the guy or the people that wrote the script for the show wrote it out like fully. So the whole script for all the seasons was written out. So in the beginning, you're constantly getting dropped all these little subtle clues that build up eventually towards the things that happen in the end of the season.
I've been meaning to watch it, so don't spoil it too much.
I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched it. They just keep everyone that I know that's seen it is like super like hyper nerdy, like the most nerdiest people I've ever met. But they're all just like it's the best.
It's very dated.
Well, yeah, but so is Stargate.
I mean,
Stargate doesn't feel dated when I'm watching it.
Yeah, it feels like a play, but like it doesn't. It's not trying to like impress you with CGI. It just goes, well, we'll just use enough, and that's why it ages so well. It's because it's not like trying to be special, but like CGI from that era just felt dated almost the year after it was made.
What'd you think about the remake of Battlestar?
I liked the first season, then it got super melodramatic, and I hated it.
Yeah, I like parts of it after that, but the miniseries and the first season were amazing. Well, gentlemen, should we call it there? It's been 2 hours.
I suppose.
It's up to you.
I will say one thing: the end of Battlestar Galactica was really it just fizzled out.
Yeah, because they didn't know where the fuck they were going. I don't
Yeah.
think they were just trying to keep the seasons going as long as they could. They were like, "Oh, we'll just end it here."
The one thing that I did like about Battlestar Galactica is the same thing that I like about SG-1 and the same thing that I like about the Alien franchise, with the exception of the newer movies, is that all of the ships and stuff look really practical. Like things are square and they're made of metal and they look like the army designed it, and everything is just really human
Yeah,
in design.
there's thrust vectoring on all the Vipers, so they're not just flying around through air. They have
Yeah.
to actually like point and shoot type of flying.
Nothing looks like Mass Effect-y, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a huge model of the Battlestar like right above me.
Dead Space is another one. The Expanse.
Oh yeah.
I remember because I remember Dead Space came out, the first one,
Mhm.
and my roommate was terrified. He wouldn't play it.
Yeah,
He-
Marshall thinks that's the scariest game that exists.
It's a fucking scary. It's one
It's
of the
just-
only games that. It's one of the
Yeah.
only horror games that actually scares the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Dude, it
So-
scared the shit out of me. But my roommate was so terrified. He wanted to play it, but he bought it for me. He bought the game and like he was like, "Play this," and I was like, "All right." So every night I got off work, we would turn off the lights, drink beer, and I would just fucking play through this goddamn game. And
Space?
like literally, I would look over and I would see this huge Puerto Rican dude like sitting in his bed with his blankets pulled over like his fucking face, like watching me play this game.
See, I'm the opposite. Dead Space is the least scary game because, like, I walk into a room and I'm just like, "Yep, there's gonna be one that comes out of that vent, that one, and that one over there. One's gonna climb up over that railing." Like, it's just so
See,
predictable.
I would know that and still be terrified
Yeah.
because I'd be like, "Oh god, here he comes!
I would
They're
be
gonna
jump
come
scared
out of
once
there!"
in a
I
while,
just
but-
Dude, those fucking mutated baby things scared the fuck out of me.
no, those didn't fuck me up too
Those
bad.
fucked me up the worst.
I'm not afraid of anything I can punt.
Yeah, but
I
What?
started with Dead Space 3.
ah,
I never finished Dead Space 3.
Oh,
I only
God.
did the first two.
Even Dead Space 3 was like kind of scary to me.
Did you see that they're doing a remake of the
They
first
were-
Dead Space?
they were good games, man. And I liked how you were just like a fucking miner, and you just had like
You were-
mining implements
Engineer.
the
You were
whole
a
time,
techni- you
or
were
an
an
engineer,
engineer.
whatever.
Sent to fix
But
the ship.
you were using mining implements like half the time.
Mm-hmm. Construction, actually. I think they were bolt guns.
Whatever, you get with this.
Words don't
sentiment.
mean anything to him. He just,
Yeah,
he'll just throw
fuck
whatever
you.
together.
You read my mind.
Anyway, yeah, I just saw an article this morning that they're not remastering, they are remaking the first Dead Space.
I can get behind that.
He was some kind of labor man.
He was.
blue collar worker.
He was a blue collar guy.
Well, engineers aren't blue collar.
Whatever, dude. I never understood the fucking colors. Okay, white
I
collar,
know,
blue
man.
collar.
I know.
don't-
Or
don't get it.
shapes. I got it.
Yeah,
I don't understand colors, shapes,
numbers.
words, sounds.
Whatever, man. I just sell people pool chemicals right now. Don't mix too much bromine with your chlorine, or at all.
Did you ever figure out what that story was, Matt?
Oh, the church story one?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's the year they decided they were going to open up a paintball course like across the highway from the main camp. So, like every day but the problem was the paintball course was not technically a part of the camp. It was its own kind of standalone paintball thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to pay the rental fee, but they would discount it because you were at church camp. But you would have to play Frogger with the highway where people were driving at like 60, 70 miles an hour in order to get to it. I also remember that was on the paintball course. I actually almost got in a fight with a kid because something happened in the line and I looked at him funny and he wanted to fight me. So
You gave him the evil eye.
I don't know what happened. Like we were standing in line waiting for the fucking rental dudes to like show up and rent out the equipment so we could just shoot each other in the nuts with paintballs. And he like looked at me and I like glanced at him and then like I looked back forward and then like when we got on the course, like he made it his mission to just like run up to me and like barrel stuff me and then just fucking do this with his fingers on the trigger.
Yeah, the I used to
This
play
stupid-
paintball professionally, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And there was 2 kids in my cabin that were their parents were rich. They'd buy them anything they want. So naturally, when they came to Bible camp and they were like, "Oh yeah, we have a paintball course," they went out and bought a bunch of like Tippmann 98 customs or like Spider markers, and
Hell yeah, brother.
they put the modded trigger on them. So they would always be sitting in their beds and they'd be sitting there like,
Yeah, that shit was.
Oh, I could shoot so fast. I have the double trigger.
Another
and
thing they
it's
would
like,
do is
Oh
they'd
god,
get
I
those.
remember.
They'd get those
speedball people.
Chinese like spinning ball things, the bells, and
Mhm.
they would just do this over and over because they're like, it makes my trigger finger faster.
Yeah, it makes me so much faster. It's like,
I hated
ooh.
speedball players. It's so annoying. It's like
I used to play speedball all the time, but I wasn't.
I
that
liked
type.
woods ball the most. That's what I played.
That was the funnest.
Fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
Speedball players were obnoxious with their fucking gear. It's like Jesus Christ.
And they're thousands of dollars they could just dump on paintballs. To
I got a
spit at you
ramping
every day.
trigger. I'm gonna ramp since I can't do fall auto. I have a ramping trigger.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's like the kids with like the auto feeders or whatever, so you don't have to sit there and shake it. You're just sitting there and it's just spinning.
Old, and then they were like angled hoppers too, so
Yep.
like the paintballs would reflect off of them and shit.
Yeah.
You guys remember the Tippmann A5s?
Yep.
The fucking assault rifles of the paintball world. Yeah.
I always wanted to get a paintball sniper rifle.
Did you
Ooh,
you,
I
you
had
know
one of
the you know
those.
the Tippmann 98s
Mm-hmm.
with like the curved barrel?
That was the A5s.
No, are
They
you
had
sure
the,
about no?
something line barrels. Yeah, it was like one
No,
of the
'cause-
mods for the A5s that was really popular.
Well, it was the same thing as the Tippmann 98 then, because the Tippmann 98 had a curved. It was like a upward curved barrel, and it would just put a spin on your paintball. And so, like, I remember the only time I ever used it, I would shoot it, and the paintballs would fly in a straight line for like a set amount of time, and then it would just go. It would just drop. And then after that, after I started playing professionally, because I had an autococker, and then I just started using the stock pump, like 5-round mag
Mhm.
fucking paintballs, because
It's called like a streamline barrel or something.
it was called
Something line barrel.
yeah, it was just fucking bullshit and didn't actually work. Because if you popped a ball in the barrel, you couldn't clean it. Like it was impossible to clean.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
normally you would have a squeegee that you would just throw through your barrel, but it was curved, so you couldn't. So you just didn't clean it. I don't think.
Was it the flatline barrel? Was it?
Flatline.
Flat line. Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's supposed to like create backspin so that it flies.
Yeah, it did. And at least when I did it, it worked. It would go straight in a like it would
Yeah.
just level out, but then it would like go up and then drop down at the
People would-
end.
People would also cant it to the side so they could shoot around obstacles with
Yep.
it.
Yeah. Those
That's
Tippmann
neat.
98s were dope, dude. I remember
Mhm.
fucking people raging out and throwing them against trees and they would still work.
I remember
That-
they were also the most customizable
Yep.
paintball gun that you
People
could
would
buy.
mod them out to look like anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they started looking like ARs at some point.
My brother got a Tippmann 98 custom for his birthday one time, and then like the next Christmas or whatever, my parents bought him an AK-47 like accessory kit.
Variant, yeah.
Yeah, like it looked cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looked freaking sweet, but it was like it added a shit pile of weight to the
Yeah.
paintball gun. I was like, this is stupid.
I rocked one of those until I started playing professionally because we were sponsored by a lot of the both the local clubs here, and I eventually got a War Games autococker, like one of the earliest like auto. You know what an autococker is, right? Where the back, it's basically like a pump that auto pumps,
Mm-hmm.
and the back shoot like 5% of the gun like shoots out every time you shoot to load the next ball.
Mhm.
So I had the bright idea of taking off the guard that was on it. So when I would lay down on the ground or I'd get close to the bunker, I would just smack my face in. But it was dope because, and it was bad because the bolt, like I had a quick release bolt. I'd press a button, pull the bolt out, and I would just throw a squeegee through my barrel. But then sometimes the bolt would just let go and it would just shoot into my face. And I had to pick it up out of the dirt and clean it off. I ended up selling it to some fucking nerd in high school for like $300. Because I was like, yeah, this is great, but like horrifically expensive. Horrifically expensive.
I remember at the place I used to play, there was this guy who used to be purportedly a Navy SEAL. I mean, he would play paintball a lot. Well, no, the twist is that he was, and but like I was really into woods ball at the time, so but he would always like find some spot in the arena and hide really well and just pick people off all the time. And then I fucking spotted him once, and I was like, I'm gonna get him. And so there was this tower or whatever right next to where he was. He was like in some tall grass or something laying down, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't know I'm here, so I'm gonna sneak up, come around, and just light him up. And then I see through like the corner of the slats that he's like aiming away from me. He's like tracking people at a distance, like trying to take shots and whatnot. And it's like, great, here's my moment. And I step out, and then he just pivots like a robot on his hips, and then just like lets 10 of them directly into my torso.
Motherfuckers using hacks.
I was like, goddamn aimbot. But yeah, that was really painful because it was basically point blank. It was like, peck, 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 peck. I'm like, oh, God.
I remember one time
Ow.
we were playing just casually, and I worked at the field we worked at, but we thought we won. But apparently there was one guy in a bunker like off in the other side of the field, and that's the direction that we walk to get back to the like shack that we go to, reset. And we're just walking casually, and I turn over, I just look over, my mask's up, and there's this dude sitting in a bunker, like looking at us all confused, and I pull my mask down. I'm like, hey, you're still alive? And he goes, yeah. And then I just go pop, pop, pop.
See,
I thought the game's over.
I thought you were about to tell us that he was gonna just pop out and John Wick everybody. Like...
No, fucking, he was just standing there looking at us all confused, and I was like, "You're still playing, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was, all right. Well, I shot him.
Yeah, I came up. You know, sometimes girls will play like when they're group with friends, and they're not really into it, so they're just standing at the corner of the field talking to each other. You know.
Yeah.
And I came up across a group of girls. I'm like, bang bang, because I didn't want to fucking line them up point blank, and they're like, "What was that?" And they turn around and like, you guys got to surrender, because I don't want to. I didn't really explain it that much. Like, you guys got to surrender, and they pull up their guns. They start shooting at me, and I duck it, and I come back. I just light them both up point blank, because I tried to be nice. I tried to say, hey, surrender, and then they fucking curse me out for the rest of the game because I'm an asshole. I'm like,
the course at the church camp had like one of those little bunkers that they made out of pallets or whatever. Not really a great place to hide for paintball, because you could still sneak a paintball through if you just chucked enough in a high volume through it.
Yeah.
Same dude who wanted to fight me, like I ran into it, and then like I was gonna just like sit there for a second and then go run to another tree. Same dude wanted to fight me, just ran up to the front of it, stuck his barrel through the slats, and then just fucking dumped the hopper. Yeah, that was great.
Oof.
Dude was a fucking douche.
I remember literally the last time I played paintball, I went back after I got out of the Marines, and I still had my jersey because we were Team Toxic. We were like the only team that was sponsored by our local, I don't want a club, the shop. And fucking, I'm like, they recognized me, like, holy shit, yeah, you will fucking hook you up, don't worry about it. And then I don't get hit in the face with a paintball, but I get splattered off the bunker. So I catch like just perfect spray of paintball across my visor. And I try wiping it off, and it just smears it. So I literally can't see anything. I have like 5/5 vision at this point. And then I'm sitting there in this bunker, and I'm like spitting in my hand underneath my mask and like trying to wipe it off, and it's not working. and one of the refs is standing right next to me, and he goes, dude, there's only like 2 little girls left, fucking on the other team, and I was like, I can't see anything, and I'm out of paintballs. They're like, okay, here, and they gave me a stock rifle, like a little pump action, and they were like, they're over on the left side of the field behind one of the spools, and I was like, great. So I just get up and I literally just start walking around in the middle of the field
Like a Terminator looking.
like a Terminator, but a blind Terminator. And like every once in a while, I'll lift up my
Breathing
mask,
heavy.
I'll look around, and then I'll put my mask back down. And then they're like, dude, just go get them. They're right there. And I was like, I can't fucking see anything, bro. And eventually, like, I pop around the bunker where I thought they would be, and then I get shot in the ass by some fucking 12-year-old girl. I was like, it was fun. Because the whole time, everyone's just laughing at me. Like, there's like 40 people on the side of the field just laughing.
I
It was
like that.
It was a good last game.
I was like that because there's like the hot room or whatever. That was like the staging area for like in between rounds was always like right up against the netting,
Yeah.
and most of the action would always happen like right in front of the hot room. So you'd constantly, because it was technically a public course, like people would come in from the outside and then sit in the hot room while they were waiting for all of these little fucking like 10-year-olds to get off the fucking field, please. They'd be like sitting there yelling at people, make a move, do something cool, go fuck him up. So you got a bunch of people gassing you up, and you go sprinting through the forest underbrush and catch your foot on a branch, and then
Yeah.
face plant in front of the whole hot room. You're like, oh,
Oh, I scalped myself on particle board once by not ducking low enough, and I was running into a bunker.
Oof.
Ooh.
That shit. I mean, obviously, I didn't actually scalp myself, but I mean, it felt like it. But yeah, I know what you mean by like rushing and then like
yeah.
fucking yourself up.
So
I used
the problem with paintball is then it started me down the addiction of airsoft, and that turned into a whole ordeal.
Well, when I was doing it, airsoft wasn't really a thing yet, so I didn't jump into that. Otherwise, I would have. But
It's
Also, airsoft was so full of like annoying cheaters that anytime you'd want to do it, like, no, I didn't get hit because there's no paint. You know.
sometimes it's
s-
like
yeah.
when people are wearing a lot of gear, like if you're doing a milsim event, which
Oh, you don't even notice it bounces off some plastic or whatever.
yeah, like if you're wearing like the full plate carrier or something like that, and you're like, oh, I'm a the white
Technically, it's realistic because it hits your plate carrier.
right. That sometimes they don't feel it or they don't hear the sound because they're wearing contacts or something like that or something stupid. And yeah, I get it, but like you're sitting there, you're hitting somebody in the face or the hands or anything like that. It's like, come on, you should call your hits by now. But I always liked it
Yeah.
because the airsoft course that I always went to was in Spokane, and it was in the Northtown Mall. So, in order to get to the shop, you would have to walk through the mall with a gun case.
Mm, yeah.
Or you would have to find out where the shop was on the outside of the mall and park in the back and then come through the back door.
Back when malls used to have that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
It was pretty neat.
I'll tell you one thing about, because I used to play speedball professionally.
You
if
said that.
Yeah, well, if you watch, well, I was just reiterating to emphasize this next point. If you watch, for some reason, anybody play speedball ever, because it's the lamest fucking thing to watch. You'll see them start and they'll run and they'll all dive into bunkers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that, because almost all of them have gotten hit by a paintball. And what they're doing is they're just diving into the fucking thousands of paintballs that are already on the ground. So when you stand up and the ref looks at you, all they see is just paint. So the first like 20 seconds of the game is just like bullshit. And then after that, it's just, if somebody gets hit in the mask or the gun, you can tell if they got hit.
I liked it. My first experience, airsoft, experience, I went with like 4 or 5 buddies. We all went to that course in the mall. And when we were there was a airsoft team. That was just like a local group of like ex-army, ex-military people that wanted to, keep going or whatever. Well, one of the dudes went full auto on the shop owner's son at
Oh
like
no.
point blank range. And
Nice.
like so like we're running around, like we're using like the shops like little M4 rentals or whatever, and we're having a blast. And this kid, he was good. He was really good at airsoft. Like he moved, he was fast. He had like his little custom gun or whatever that his dad built because he owns the fucking shop and can get all the parts and knows what he's doing. He's playing, he's having a great time. This dude on the airsoft team, like, pops out and he's like, no full auto, no full auto. Well, like, it's the same as paintball. Like, you could do the stupid double finger on paintball.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Well, they
get,
got like electronic triggers and shit.
yeah, you can get really fast triggers for airsoft, and it's like, this kid could fucking feather the trigger really well. So it seemed like it was full auto, but it was semi-auto. And he's screaming at this kid, no full auto, no full auto. Finally, he just like loses his shit, flips his gun to full auto, and he just sprints up to him and just fucking starts hosing him down. And the owner, like, everybody calls ceasefire. Like, the team is like, the airsoft team like is like grabbing the dude and like trying to pry him away from killing this 12-year-old in a mall. And the owner's like comes over and is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to a 12-year-old? And he's like, I'm gonna defend myself, even if it's from a 12-year-old child. And I'm like, and even us, we're like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? It's a 12-year-old with a fucking plastic BB gun. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And like the airsoft team basically like dragged him out of the course, and they were like, you're done. Go away. We don't want you on the team. Like, you're gone.
So I got one story. I had just gotten out of boot camp and I had 2 weeks of appellate leave, which means that I basically had to work for the recruiters in the local area because the school was so backed up that I had to, work with them. And I basically just went around and asked people to join the Marines, but occasionally they would be like, okay, you got to go do this event here and there, put on your uniform. And I think it was Kamayakan, but they were doing some special like police drill where it was like an active shooter, a terrorist or whatever in the school. And so they had these like drills set up where like they had so many kids there in the classroom, and then the police would come down all pseudo SWAT style and try to breach a room and kill the bad guy. And so I had to go, as my staff sergeant like ordered me to do it. So I went, and I was just basically playing as a student in this room, and there was just some dude with like they had those paint cartridge rounds. So they had ARs,
Yeah.
but they were set up in like the 22 paint rounds, the blue rounds. And the dude that was being the terrorist had like an AK version of that. And what he would do is he would like bang on the wall and fucking like fire his gun off a couple times into the floor. And I was just watching this all unfold, and I like asked the cops, I was like, hey, can I be the terrorist one time? Like, I'm a Marine, I'm just sent here from the Marine recruiters, like, don't worry about it. And they were like, sure, go ahead. And so I fucking, because what would happen was that the cops, it was just like the most rinky-dink bullshit operation where they would fucking, you like come into the room, the dude would fire the gun up into the air or down to the floor or whatever to like scare them, and they would come in and shoot the guy, and he'd fall to the floor, and they would save all the whoever the fuck was in the room. And so I was like, this is like the most bullshit fucking thing I can think of, because this is nowhere, like, I play video games, motherfucker. Like, this is not even close to what's real.
I play video games, motherfucker.
Yeah. So I didn't tell him that at first. I was like, hey, man, let me be the fucking dude, because you wear a mask. They were like, just don't shoot towards the face. I was like, that's cool, whatever. I played paintball. Don't worry about it. And so what I did was fucking the first time I did it, I threw down a couple of the desks in front of the door and then stood on the opposite side and didn't move. And then when they came in, I shot all of them, like bam, 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 because they just walked in. They weren't even like trained to like clear a room. They just kind of came into the room all willy-nilly. And they didn't like that at all. And then the next time they did it, I gave one of the kids the AK. And then I ran down the hallway and tackled one of the cops, which they really didn't like. And then they kicked me out, and I was like, listen, man. And then so like the I don't know if he was the chief or whatever, the guy that was in charge was starting to yell at me, and I was like, listen, man, this is like the most bullshit shit I've ever seen. Like I've never had any formal training for this type of thing, but I can already tell you that you guys have no fucking clue what you're doing. And I was never invited back.
That's amazing.
It was really, really, really fun.
All right, well, I suppose we could wrap it up. It's been 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Let's summarize.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
There's gonna be a quiz at the end. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Eastern Washington, paintball, airsoft.
Stargate
Oh yeah, and old other '90s TV shows.
and video games.
All this, yeah. All these video
Oh,
games.
Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Harley.
I
Harley
rem-
was there.
Oh,
Too.
and Harley.
And Harley
Harley
was
was here.
I remembered I got my other phone so I could tell you the name of that one thing.
What one thing?
Is it something that we're gonna want to hear on the podcast?
I mean, if people
Some-
figure it out, they'll
Oh.
figure it out.
Furcadia and Futanari was brought up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh yeah, we can't forget the Futanari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're already talking about Futanari. I mean, we could definitely talk about this.
Hell yeah, brother.
Rakujitsu no Pathos.
Okay,
I knew it
I'll
was
definitely
anime.
remember that.
I knew it was
Yeah,
anime.
I'll send it. Anime?
I just assumed you were saying Japanese shit. It was anime.
I mean, it is Japanese shit. I would not classify it as anime.
What is it then?
Anyway, viewers, goodbye. We're ending now.
Segue away from that topic.
You guys like fucking sharing hentai with one another?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, that's what I
What?
was trying to goad from them. Yes.
What the fuck?